We're gonna figure it out right now.
We can flip a coin. I don't know. That'd be fun to start doing that too.
All right. Hey, Chief, you got a coin?
That'd be cool.
I'm the guest. I get to do this.
I don't know. Yeah, let me guess too.
All right. Hey, Chief, you got a coin? All right. Let me see. I don't have no coin here. Sing, give me.
Can you hear me?
Sing, give me a coin right quick for a minute.
Can you hear me, Sonetta?
I hear.
Somebody's breaking up.
Loud and clear.
Huh?
Nah, ain't nobody breaking up. It's good.
Okay, Sonetta, I'm the guest.
You hear me?
I was the one that was challenged.
No problem. I don't mind. I ain't gonna go.
All right, hold on. Chief, no, you've been on Facebook on.
Yeah,
we're going crazy, man.
It challenging me.
Polight disagree. He goes first. I mean, he's the one that made the challenge.
Okay, now
you made the challenge by doing all them damn videos. I accept it.
Yeah, but as a guest and a newcomer, I got to.
Here we go, y'all. I want y'all to call it.
Yeah, that could be the first debate.
Who you got? What you got, Polight? Because here go the coin, and I'm gonna toss it up right here where everybody can see.
I can't pick heads. Pause. Tails.
What you got, Chief X?
I got tails. I'm not picking heads.
All right, here you go. The flip.
It's a major pause.
It is tails.
I got tails. Chief X, go first.
Chief X, you got the floor. We're gonna open up.
Wait a minute.
No,
I'm asking for.
Hold on for a minute, Chief. That's how we do this.
We did a head to tail.
Relax, brother. I want to let the people know what's going down. We got Brother Polight. We got Chief X in the building.
Oh, we live right now?
Yeah, we live right now. I wanted the people to see the flip.
Okay.
I wanted the people to see the coin flip. And you already see what the title is. The title is Chief X versus Brother Polight, meat versus plant-based diet when two worlds collide. Now, you already know Chief X been going on a rant, going at the, the holistic health and the teachings and saying a lot of things is not right and exact. He challenged Minister Inky. Minister Inky declined. He challenges Brother Polight. Polight accepts the challenge. Polight accepts the challenge, family. So I would like for my brother Chief X to open up with about a good minute or a half to let the people know what's going on. Why is this discussion important, brother? Talk about it. Introduce yourself. Let the people know, brother.
What's happening, fam? This is Chief X, the God best reincarnated, I call myself. And, my platform, I always say I'm taking this common sense science. And just a real brief 1 minute, just to open up about myself and people who don't know me. I consider myself a pantheist, right? I'm a Pan-African. And started off my jump start with the Nation of Islam. Started studying with the Moors, then Hebrew, Orthodox Islam. Then I landed into studying ancient Egypt and met Dr. Ashraf Kwesi. I've been a truth seeker, not following any organizations for the last 15 years. So that's just a little bit about me. And this is a wonderful.
What about your background in health and stuff like that, brother? Don't you want to drop that?
Right. I have no degrees in health or biology, but it's a topic of mine that I study a lot and do a lot of research on because it's important to me. And me being an ex-athlete, I used to wrestle high school. So health topics have always been very important to me. And this is a pretty simple topic, plant versus meat, iron and protein of meat and plant. So it should be light work. Let me give my daughter this money. She came to visit me for a minute.
All right. So my brother Polight, it's on you, my brother. You got a couple of minutes, a minute and a half to talk about why is this important and why you accept this challenge today, my brother.
I definitely accept the challenge because this conversation can only be enlightening for the people. And there's a lot of misconceptions when it comes to health, when it comes to being plant-based, choosing a plant-based diet. And by plant-based, we mean we're also including herbs, obviously. We're also including vegetables. Obviously, we're including fruits, obviously. And I say obviously because sometimes there's so many sects or factions of healthy people that you can get confused based on their criteria, where some people will eat eggs. I don't suggest you eat eggs, right? Where some people eat dairy, cheese in general, milk. I don't suggest that. So hearing my brother being against fasting, for the most part, being against the plant-based lifestyle as a priority, being against getting our proteins from plants, getting our iron from plants, this needs to be rectified. And this is a common conversation. This is a common issue. And what I will be doing today, I was told we ain't going to do the PowerPoint thing, and that's okay, because I'm doing this kind of on the fly.
Well, you could show slides if you want. Chief X had some slides ready.
Well, I'm cool. What I'll do, I'll just tell people what to look up for the most part. If it suffices, I'll find a slide or something. But the beauty about health is that we don't have to get too much primaries unless we're going into a real deep discussion about it. And every discussion about health to the average person is deep because the average person is not taught this, having relied on the school system to teach them. So having said that, this is going to be intermediate for myself, and my brother here I see as a neophyte based on his disagreement, based on his grievances. Neophyte, yeah. I don't believe he knows enough to have this type of conversation or has the right to formulate certain opinions about the subject matter we have before us, because to take the side he's taking on is the greatest hint that he doesn't know enough or he's not equipped enough. So what I expect him to do is most of his points of contention will be in conformity with the mythos of most meat eaters who have been taught by government-sponsored, not saying he's a government agent, not at all. And I'm just saying that because other people say this stuff. Government-sponsored programs with agendas to employ depopulation. I will not be going into speculations when I get into the health conversation. I just want people to know that we are a different people. And by us being a different people, we have to understand we have a different genome. And by us having a different genome, we have to take into consideration that what may be good for another race of people may not necessarily be good for us, because we have a different epigenetic line that we come from. All right. And so we may have adapted to eating the non-corresponding foods that are not indigenous to the lands that we're from, but it doesn't mean that it's not impacting us negatively. So we need this conversation every day of the week. And I'm glad that this brother is here to participate in this, because this is a great teaching moment, as I'm very ecstatic about having this conversation to perpetuate the teachings of my master teacher, Dr. Sabi.
All right. So, family, I hope we are all ready. You already see what it is. I'm going to give each of you brothers 8 minutes apiece to speak. Brother Chief X, you got the floor first. Now, let me lay down the rules. There will be absolutely no interruptions. And please put your mic on mute, Brother Polight, while the brother's talking. If he say anything that you didn't say, please wait for your turn to respond. Do not cut him off. And the same with you, Chief X. If Polight says something that you say you didn't say, wait for your response when it's your time, and you can address it. I will give you like about a good 2 minutes extra to address that before we even go into your time. All right? Understand, both of y'all?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so without any further ado, Chief X, your time starts when you start talking, brother.
Okay, cool. Chief X back at you. And just for clarity, Polight mentioned and said that I was against plant-based diets. I was against fasting, and that's not true. I told people earlier, I have no problem with vegan or vegetarian diets. They're healthy. Why would I have a problem with eating good fruits and vegetables and getting your nutrition? I have a problem with the misinformation about veganism, the misinformation about vegetarianism. Okay, now to be clear to the public, this debate title is always key. The debate title is always key. The debate basically is about plant protein versus meat protein. Plant iron versus meat iron. Remember that, because we're going to stay on topic. Plant and meat, iron, and protein. So let's go. I'm about to share my screen, Sonetta.
Right, hold on. What I want to show you is right now. All right, I didn't know you was starting now, so we're going to start your time right now. We're going to start this over and start your time like right now. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so was I not heard?
Yeah, you was heard. Go ahead. We starting your time right now. Go. It's on.
Okay. So to be clear, this discussion is about plant versus meat, protein, and iron. Is a vegan diet best or meat diet best? Okay, let's be clear. Plant versus meat, iron and protein. Which one is better for you? Okay, see, I come with facts and not opinion. He called me a neophyte, but as you will see, this will be light work. And before we came on, I told Sonetta this is going to be child abuse. Okay, so let me share my screen real quick because this is real basic. Okay, protein. I'm going to discuss plant versus meat protein. And we're going to be clear. I hope people can see my screen.
We see it.
Okay, protein is important for growth and development, and is also one of the 3 macronutrients in food that provide calories or energy for the body. Each gram of protein provides 4 calories. What is it? Protein is found in foods from both plants and animals. So yes, you can get protein from plants and you can get protein from animal sources and dairy sources. But one is better than the other, and I will show you. Protein is found in foods from both plants and animals. Protein is made up of hundreds of thousands of smaller units called amino acids, which are linked to one another in long chains. The sequence of amino acids determines each protein's unique structure and its specific function. There are 20 different amino acids that can be combined to make every type of protein in the body. These amino acids fall into 2 categories. Okay, so with proteins, you have amino acids. You have essential amino acids and you have non-essential amino acids. Essential amino acids are required for normal body functioning, but they cannot be made by the body and must be obtained from food. Of the 20 amino acids, let me close this out. Of the 20 amino acids, 9 of them are considered essential. You have non-essential amino acids can be made by the body from essential amino acids consumed in food or in the normal breakdown of the body proteins. Of the 20 amino acids, 11 are considered non-essential. Where's protein found? Protein is found in a bunch of food: beans, dairy, eggs, grains, meats, nuts, seeds, seafood products, soy products, etc. Okay, let's get to the meat of what I'm trying to say. There we, my computer's a little slow because I have so many screens up. Here's where we kick it. This cannot be refuted. This is facts. I'm not giving you my opinion or something I think. I'm giving you the reality and the science. You have complete proteins and you have incomplete proteins. Bottom line, Complete proteins. Let's read about complete proteins. Complete proteins contain all of the essential amino acids in adequate amounts. Animal foods such as dairy products, eggs, meat, poultry, and seafood and soy are complete protein sources. What that said was meat and dairy protein are complete proteins. Listen, incomplete proteins are missing or do not have enough of one or more of the essential amino acids, making the protein imbalance. Most plant foods, such as beans, peas, grains, nuts, seeds, vegetables, are what? Incomplete protein sources. Sonetter, if I owed you $100, you want your complete $100. You don't want an incomplete $100. You want all your money. So what you want is a complete protein. If I gave you an incomplete protein, I would only give you $50 instead of $100. This is common sense. How much time I got, Sonetter?
It's right there on the screen, and you can see it at the bottom of my screen.
Well, I'm sharing my screen, so I can't see it.
Okay,
but
I showed it to you.
Okay, cool. Let's go. So, complementary proteins, we don't even need to get into that. It's a little extra. I got 2 minutes. Okay. So, plant proteins are incomplete. Meat and dairy proteins are complete. This is common sense. So let's move on. Oh, this computer's slow. So let me just go off the head because I got like 1 minute left, I believe. I can't see the clock. But I eat meat, okay? I eat a lot of fruits and vegetables also. Also, I take moringa, the most nutritious plant on earth. But if I'm giving something to a child, I want to give them complete nutrition rather than incomplete nutrition. Polight can use big words and say everything he wants for this next 8 minutes when he go. But he has to deal with the fact that plant protein is incomplete and that meat and dairy sources of protein are complete. There's no way around that. If he says anything different than this, he is lying and making up something. I concede my time, Sonetter.
All right. Thank you, my brother, Chief. Right now, my brother Polight, it's on you, my brother. And let me reset the clock so you can see it. I told you, y'all. I think y'all both need 10 minutes, but we'll see how this round go, and then we can amp it up 2 more minutes. Brother Polight,
hold on.
Let me know. It will start as soon as you ready to go in.
Okay, hold on. I'm just pulling out the flyer. That's all I'm doing.
Okay.
Once I pull up this flyer.
Right, it ain't started yet. I got you.
Oh boy. This is hilarious. Hold on. Let me just get the flyer real quick.
Yeah, you know, I want all my essential amino acids, not just half of them. And I only can get that from meat and dairy.
All right, Chief. Okay, you got to put it on mute, Chief.
Oh my goodness, these people are the best. Where you find that?
Put it on mute. Put your joint on mute, brother.
No, it's okay. He can keep talking himself into a hole. I actually like the fact he's talking. Yo, you cannot microwave information, man. You gotta stop doing that. All right, there we go. I'm building it up as we go. Boom, here we go. Let me just put this flyer here. Boom. change the size.
Come on, Polight. Let's get it.
I'm ready. I just had to get the flyer off the internet.
Okay.
All right. To make that my first slide. Because we want to control the narrative. But I don't mind. I'll go the direction of the narrative he want to go.
We're going to start when you're ready.
Okay, I'm ready. Where's the I gotta find the screen where we're doing the live. I'm sorry, hold on.
And for the people that's watching, y'all can also look down at the bottom of the screen and y'all will see the time also. The time is moving, is at the bottom of your screen. So y'all can see it as well.
I'm looking for the damn, oh, there we go. Okay, hold on. Yo, I think you need to send me the link again. Hold on. What the hell? I might have closed the window where I could share my screen.
We are here. Like, we see you. All you got to do is open the window.
Let me just say something because the audience.
Yeah.
Polight can use Wikipedia or anything he wants. The facts don't change. Where you research complete and incomplete protein, it says the same thing. All y'all got to do in the chat is Google it.
Okay, brother. Okay. Well, I'm coming back into this thing again.
All you got to do, if you can't do nothing, sign out and come back in. Polight.
I just did.
Okay. You see it? Okay, here you go.
I'm back at it. I couldn't see it.
What about now?
Yeah, I can see it now. I just signed back in.
Okay.
Can you see me?
Yes, I see you. Are you ready?
All right. Yeah. So let's
keep going through this, man. Let's go. It's on you, Polight.
Let's go. All right, 8 minutes. So let me first do this part.
Start the time, son.
Not yet, brother. I got you. I'm gonna do the same thing I did for you.
You can start the time. He got his extra comments in and all that. You can start the time.
Just y'all respect the moderator. I got y'all. I know when to start.
Yeah, I can't.
I didn't stop. Right? All right, go ahead. Let's go.
Now, what I want to say is to everybody, I can't wait till we get into the question and answer phase of this debate so we can see who really knows what they're talking about. Because already, people, when you source material, you should say exactly where you're sourcing the material from. I can tell he randomly Googled the information. Why? Because he already gave us misinformation. So I'm going to give y'all this. And I made 2 corrections already, and I'm going to show you my screen with the corrections. Then I'm going to close out, and I'm going to start talking to y'all directly. Because I was told today we wasn't doing slides. When I got on the phone, I was told we're not doing slides. We're just going to go straight from the head. That's what I was told. Luckily for me, I am the damn slides. I am the book of Eli. So none of this bothers me any damn way. Because I know what to expect. So right here, clearly, this was the flyer that was put out, and these were the things that we agreed to. Is fasting good? This is what we agreed we was going to debate on. I got the actual text. Now, if I have to screenshot the text to show forth and prove what we were supposed to talk about today, I'll do that too. I don't mind talking about animal protein versus plant protein, and I don't mind talking about animal iron versus plant iron. I do not mind having that conversation. I do not want to omit the fact we're also supposed to be speaking about is fasting good and is milk good for us. And the theme of the debate was meat versus plant-based diet. This is the actual flyer that's on Sinetta's page. This is the flyer that's on my page. These are the terms that we agreed to. I don't know why he's leaving out fasting. I don't know why he's leaving out is milk good for us. But I do concede that we also will be talking about animal protein versus plant protein and animal iron versus plant iron. So again, the title or the theme is meat versus plant-based diet. That is the theme, not plant protein, animal protein. That's it. No, we're not doing that. We're going to discuss these 4 things, whether you want to stand on these things you've been going against or not. We're going to discuss them. All right. Now, let me go into the next slide. I want everybody that's online now to do me a favor and see if you're missing anything. I corrected him twice since he's been talking. First of all, he says that there are only 20 amino acids. That is a lie. That is incorrect. There are not 20 amino acids. There are 22 amino acids. He's wrong. And one of those amino acids is created in the event your source for protein is compromised. And I'll explain that later. And that's called selenocysteine. In the event you have the type of diet he's telling you to have, you're going to need this thing called selenocysteine, which is when they replace sulfur with selenium. Because I'm not even going to go there. I don't even want to tell you nothing because I know he's a Google fiend. He's probably Googling right now to try to catch up. I want the questions to come to both of us so we can see who really knows what they're talking about, because you messed up, buddy. There's not 20 amino acids, there's 22. Okay? And the 22 amino acids that do exist are one, selenocysteine is what it's supposed to be called. I'm missing the O, selenocysteine, right? And pyrrolysine. So those are 2 amino acids that are not included when you just randomly look up the information. Another correction I must make. He said there are essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids, but he didn't tell you that there are also semi-essential amino acids. Because he's Googling the goddamn information, and you can't microwave health information. This is only our life we're talking about, people. So let me get out of here real quick. Can you see me again? Okay. So what can we conclude? This is completely light too. I told you he's a neophyte. All I gotta do is sit here and listen to him, and I can tell he randomly Googled whatever he can pull up. He didn't cite his source, because if he cited his source can be scrutinized. And I can tell y'all right now, if you look up selenocysteine and pyrrolysine, what you're gonna find out is those are 2 more amino acid groups. 2 more amino acids. And we actually have 22 amino acids, not 20. Okay? You got to pay attention to that. You have to pay attention to that. This is insane. So listen, the reason why you need that 21st amino acid, selenocysteine as an example, it's because when you take in proteins from animals, animal protein is high in sulfur-containing amino acids. When you take in sulfur-containing amino acids, your body has to buffer the sulfur with calcium. Okay? Your body has to buffer the sulfur with calcium because the calcium makes your body acidic. I'm going to save some of this information now. We're going to take our time with this information. Okay? So the first thing you got to understand is you need selenocysteine because the selenium is going to be also used when you get, let's say, an example, animal protein that changes the potential hydrogen of the human body. Because when you take in sulfur-containing amino acids that come from animal proteins, the pH is compromised. What else do we need to discuss? We're going to discuss why he didn't mention semi-essential amino acids. The reason why he didn't mention why or what is non-essential and what is semi-essential is because the body can transform some proteins into other proteins, just like it does sugar. The body can take sucrose from a plant and turn it into the glucose and fructose that it needs. Likewise, I give an example. What meat eaters brag about needing is a agenda that's been employed by who? The pale beast, because he needs to eat a certain way. He can take more sulfur than we can take sulfur. So now let's take our time. First of all, let's remember that he said there's only 20 amino acids and it's actually 22. The 2 being pyrrolysine and selenocysteine. Let's do that. Secondly, let's understand that you need selenium or selenocysteine. The selenium actually replaces the sulfur part of the group. Chemically, when a person has too much sulfur in their body, the selenium is there to clean it up. And this only happens when you take in when you take in meat for protein. Okay? Next, we have to understand when we're talking about these amino acids, what are the semi-essential amino acids? The semi-essential amino acids are the amino acids that the body can make itself from the original. The non-essential amino acids you actually need from your diet outside. And for any so-called amino acid, he says you cannot get from a plant, I want him to name it. And I will show you where you can get it from a plant. And I'll show you where you can't get it from the meat. Secondly, we did semi-essential, non-essential, and essential amino acids. The essential amino acids that he's bragging about are outdated by the time you get to a certain age. So you don't need all the proteins that's on the 20 protein list he got. You do need 22 in general, but they are outdated at certain given days and time. I'll leave it like that. So first of all, people, just remember this. Remember this, people. He gave you the wrong number of amino acids because he's Googling the damn information. It's 22 amino acids, not 20. Secondly, he told you there's non-essential amino acids and essential amino acids, but he never told you there's semi-essential amino acids and the distinction amongst the three. He did not tell you that because he did not know that because he didn't have enough time to Google because he's doing this on the fly.
All right. Thank you, my brother Polight. Now, what I suggest for you two brothers, I just put an extra 2 seconds on the clock because I want to give you.
I don't need that. I want to stick to the 8-minute rule.
All right, you want to stick to the 8? Same with you, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I think because both of y'all long-winded, I think our people don't want to be cheated on the information. That's why I said I give y'all extra 2.
If you don't want to cheat the people on information, start asking us some questions.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. No, I'm going to do that when I get out of the 3 rounds. After I give y'all the 3 rounds so the people can be able to vote 2-3, 1-3, or whatever. 3-0, 3-zip. So, Chief.
Hold on. The questions don't count as a round?
Yeah, hold on, Polight. You kind of shook right now.
We're not on your time, G. I'm trying to find out what's the rules of engagement, so I know.
All right, what I'm saying.
You're not prepared.
When y'all finish, hold on, both of y'all. When y'all finish the 3 rounds, we on the second one. That's when I start asking the questions for both of y'all. Is that cool?
I don't understand what you mean by the second one after 3 rounds. What are you talking about?
All right, this is the second round right here.
Okay, so after we finish this second round, the third round is questions?
No, after you finish the second round, and then y'all got the third round because y'all want to have a rebuttal. And then after the third round, then I will begin to ask y'all questions. Is that cool?
I don't mind. I just don't know what we're going to talk about. Go ahead.
All right, so...
Because hold on, Sal.
You can talk about...
Hold on, real quick.
Yeah.
What I was told we was going to be debating about, he said something totally different.
No, I didn't. I'm not finished yet. I mentioned 3 different things.
Still going.
You didn't mention what's on the flyer.
No, what's on the flyer?
He still got time to go. So he might mention it now.
Okay.
So Chief X, it's on you, my brother. The clock will start.
All right. Chief X back at you. And that was a bunch of crying and making up a bunch of lies. I know exactly what the debate title is. Okay. I've read it several times. Okay. I was just speaking on protein because I was going to hit iron the next round and milk the next round. So I'm being clear and communicating clear with the public.
Let's go. Time's up.
Secondly, there are 20 amino acids. But Polight wants to be petty because I smacked him up and clearly showed that a complete protein is much better than an incomplete protein. So he's erratic right now and trying to save face. So check it out. Now, those extra 2 amino acids that Polight is talking about, let's just read what that is. He's talking about selenocysteine and pyrrolysine, which are, listen, people, because he did a flim-flam on you. It's 20 amino acids, okay? These 2 amino acids he mentioned, let's read what it says, are rare amino acids that are constellationally inserted into proteins and known as the 21st and 22nd amino acids in the genetic code. So there is 20, but he wanted to be petty and say, because I didn't say 22, he wants to act like I just messed up. That's petty shit. There's 20 main amino acids. Them 2 are inserted and they're rare. Look it up. Don't believe me. Second round. Time to go. Let's talk about iron now. Since we clearly, can you see my screen, Sonetter?
Yes, we see you.
My screen, not me.
No, you ain't put the screen up yet, brother.
Okay, 1 second. Let me get back out of here.
I stopped the clock.
This is light work. This is suicide for Brother Polight, basically. Okay, let me put my screen up. Can you see it now, Son?
Yes, your screen is up and time starts.
Let's go. So, first round, I clearly proved that you would rather have $100 rather than $50. You would rather have complete protein rather than incomplete protein. The only way you get complete protein is from meat and dairy. You get incomplete protein from plant. This is facts, no matter if you Wikipedia something, Google it, or whatever. Stop crying. First of all, Google is a search engine. It takes you to the information. So don't let people shame you and say he Googling. That's somebody trying to save face. Let's go. Heme iron versus non-heme iron in food. There are two kinds of naturally occurring irons in food, only two, that are absorbed and handled by our body differently. Let's go. The two forms of dietary iron are heme iron and non-heme iron. Listen closely. Heme iron is found only in meat, poultry, seafood, and fish. So heme iron is the type of iron that comes from animal proteins in our diet. Non-heme iron, by contrast, is found in plant-based foods like grains, beans, vegetables, fruits, nuts, and seeds. But don't make this mistake of assuming it's only in plants. Non-heme iron is also found in animal products such as eggs or milk or dairy, and is also comprises more than half of the iron contained in animal meat. So we have here that meat and dairy is heme and non-heme iron. It's the same thing as saying it's complete iron. Plant-based iron is only non-heme. It's insufficient. It doesn't contain both. It only contains non-heme iron. I mean, what you want, $100 or $50? This is common sense, light work. Another way to think about heme versus non-heme is by categories of food. Animal meat is a combination of heme and non-heme. Dairy and eggs are non-heme. Plant foods are non-heme. But only meat is both. Okay? The way our body absorbs these two types of irons is different. Heme iron, which is meat iron, is more easily absorbed and is therefore a large source of dietary iron for people with both with and without hemochromatosis. Let's read that again. Heme iron, which is meat iron, is more easily absorbed and is therefore a large source of daily dietary iron for people with both with and without hemochromatosis. Non-heme iron, which is plant shit, is usually less readily absorbed. Do you guys understand English language? It's saying plant, which is non-heme iron, is usually less readily absorbed than heme iron, especially in people with hemochromatosis. Non-heme iron, punk-ass plant iron, tends not to be a big source of dietary iron. Did you hear that? Or are you guys hearing impaired? Huh? Non-heme iron is usually less readily absorbed than heme iron, especially in people with hemochromatosis. Non-heme iron tends not to be a big source of dietary iron. This, of course, is going to be different in those with hemochromatosis, which I will explain more in a minute. How much time I got, Sarnetta?
You have a minute.
Okay. Okay. Why does any of this matter? Our bodies absorb the iron from animal-based protein, heme iron, better than the iron from plant-based protein. This is child abuse. Polight should have never taken this debate with me. Never, because I don't come to play. This is one reason why vegetarians without hemochromatosis is more at risk to develop iron deficiency anemia than people who eat meat. The exclusively non-heme iron found in plants just isn't as available to our bodies as heme iron. I'm sorry, it pales in comparison to meat, the iron from meat. So what we have proven so far in these first 2 rounds is Polight has been spanked. Protein and iron, I've proven without a shadow of a doubt, is better in meat. Plant protein and iron is insufficient. Okay, it's lacking. So that's why people always suggest, if you're vegan and vegetarian, at least eat some salmon every now and then. I mean, I concede my time. Let's go.
All right, Brother Polight. The time is on you, brother. You have 8 minutes. Let me restart your time. You have 8 minutes, and the clock will start, Polight, when you begin to get into your sentence, brother.
Okay, hold on.
No sad time, Polight. No laughing. No.
Yo, this is hilarious, bro. Don't tell me how to do what I do. This is hilarious. All right, hold on. I gotta pull up the damn thing again. Hold on.
You gotta pull it up again. You gotta go out and come back in?
Yeah, it ain't gonna take long because this time I just know to go straight to it.
All right.
I don't know why it keeps happening, but I'm about to hit the link right now. All I'm gonna do is just keep making corrections. I'm gonna correct them every round. I'm gonna correct them every single round. Okay.
Put the strap on me.
Okay, so we're gonna go here. All right, we're here. You can see me, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go. I'm gonna share this screen right here. Now let's start off again.
All right, let's go, Polight.
Let's do this. So earlier on, he said that there were 20 amino acids. I corrected him and told him there's 22. He then goes on to say I'm petty because the other 2 actually exist. He says no, because it's rare. When something is rare, you know what else is rare? Trace minerals are rare. You know what else is rare? Essential amino acids are rare because you have to get outside the body as opposed to the body producing them. And as I told you before, selenocysteine is created under the circumstances that you're getting your protein from the wrong sources. I said this earlier. Keep in mind, people, I have no PowerPoint ready. I'm just freestyling, and I'm giving you the information so you can look it up, and I'm speaking slow enough so you can catch up while we're doing this. So for one, it's not petty to mention the 2 amino acids that exist. Furthermore, I knew the source that he cited was limited because he said 20 instead of 22. Secondly, he said there were only essential and non-essential amino acids. But he never took the time out to tell you there were semi-essential amino acids. So that's 2 corrections so far. I'm going into this one now. All right. So we cited the fact that I'm so-called petty. He said if we read this thing, complete protein, y'all, I want y'all to know that's a misnomer. That's done on purpose so you won't be properly educated. Okay? I'm saying that so you won't be that's being said so you won't be properly educated. You can tell the brother mute his mic if need be. All right. So now what I want to do,
I haven't said a word.
okay, I'm gonna disregard that on my time. Just give me back 10 seconds. So now what we see is this. He said, I guarantee you, ask Polight or anyone, when we look for complete proteins, we're not going to see it from no plants. So I'm going to read this. He said we could Google and pull up anything. Now, I don't have a problem with Google. I have a problem with the source material he's using because it's limited, because his source material, case in point, told you there's only 20 amino acids when it's 22. His source material told you there's only essential amino acids and non-essential, but not semi-essential. His source material is telling you that you cannot get so-called complete protein from plants. But let's read. A complete protein or whole protein is a full source of protein that contains an adequate proportion of each of the 9 essential amino acids necessary in the human diet. Examples of single source complete proteins are red meat, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, cheese, yogurt, soybeans, and what? Quinoa. I don't suggest we eat soy. He said, when you play it back, I will not be able to go anywhere online and find a complete source of protein from plants. He just made another error with his Google facts. So I'm not mad at Google. I'm mad at the way he's using Google spontaneously to have a serious debate about naturopathy and holistic health. That is a problem. Quinoa is a plant. It's not a meat, family. And there are more plants than quinoa that gives you the so-called complete protein. But that is a misnomer if you know what a semi-essential amino acid is. That is a misnomer. This is not a valid source where he's getting his data from. So he said, people, I will not be able to do this, and none of y'all will be able to do this. He said, you can Google anywhere, you ain't going to find it. So I just showed you one. And I showed you exactly where you can go. Type in nine essential proteins found in plants. I typed that in, I Googled it, and here goes the word quinoa. So he's wrong again. He keeps being wrong because he's just randomly Googling and not spending his life on this information. He keeps being wrong, and he's going to ignore it and laugh because he is nervous. That's why he keeps laughing. There's nothing funny about misinforming people. Nothing's funny about that. Now I'm going to ask, heme iron that we get from meat, what is heme iron? Did he mention that heme iron is a damn carcinogen? Do you know what that means? It means it's cancerous. So his only source of iron is cancerous? Are you kidding me? This is what I'm talking about. The only place he's telling you to get iron is a damn cancer site. Iron can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage. Do you know what it means to have DNA damage? I'm going to explain that when I get out of here. Okay, taken from irondisorders.org. Okay, irondisorders.org tells you, subsidiary of a government site. They tell you, but they know you don't connect the dots. So they can tell you like this and separate it from the other information. Iron can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage, and heme iron, which is found in meat, not plants. The iron we get from dark green leafy vegetables is called iron fluorine. It is non-carcinogenic. You won't find nothing telling you that the iron you're getting from plants is going to give you cancer, because that's what a carcinogen does. And heme iron can catalyze endogenous formations. What does endogenous mean? Don't skip over that word. It means internal formations of N-nitroso compounds, which are potent carcinogens. So let me get back to this guy right now. Is he going to still turn around and say, it's still light work? Every damn round he makes an error. Or errors, I should say. So now you got to get your meat pardon me, now you got to get your iron from meat that they make red through adding carbon monoxide to it to give it a hue that's more appealing, one. And then two, you're going to make this your source of iron. What else is wrong with heme iron? Y'all can look it up. Your body doesn't let you know when you had too much heme iron in the first place. Because it's a carcinogen, because it's carcinogenic, you need to know how much is too much in the first place. When you get iron from a plant, the sucrose in the plant gives you this vibe where it's, I had too much to eat. I don't want to eat no more. If you ever had a bowl of string beans, your body will let you know that how much is too much. If you ever had a bunch of okra, your body would tell you how much is too much. Because the way that these atoms bind, sucrose tells you, yo, you had enough. It'll make you want to throw up. When you get iron from meat, it doesn't have a factor in it. It doesn't have sucrose there to tell you, you know what? I'm about to throw up. I'm having way too much iron to protect you from it. Your body doesn't expect you to take the damn thing in. You get iron from dark green leafy vegetables called iron fluorine. Yes, heme iron absorbs way more faster, and that's why they want you to take it, because you want to deal with fast food. You want to get the results of getting that iron ASAP. But if you live your life holistically and you compartmentalize that which is on your plate on a consistent basis, you will wait a little bit longer to get your iron, but at least it won't be carcinogenic, meaning cancerous. All right? Don't forget, he said I wouldn't be able to find a whole protein in plants, and I did. And that's not even the only plant. I'll stop.
All right, my brother Chief X is on you. Unmute yourself.
Body bag.
We're going to restart this time. Unmute yourself, Chief X. All right, Chief X, you got 8 minutes, my brother. Last and final round. And family, I want y'all out there to judge these rounds. Is it a 3-0? Is it 2-1? Is it even? I want y'all to be the judge out there. Or is it a body bag? 3-0. Y'all deal with this right here. All right, brother Chief X, you got the floor, brother.
Yes, sir. Can you see me, Sadetta?
Yes, I see you.
Okay. So what Polight did just now was a bunch of fear mongering. He told people that iron is carcinogenic and it's cancerous. Where have you guys heard any sane individual say getting iron is cancerous? He lied. First of all, I sat here 3 different times and said there are 20 amino acids. There are 2 extra amino acids that are inserted, and they are rare. So in general, all health professions, I don't care where you Google it, tell you there's 20 amino acids. I was not wrong. Polight is erratic in making up bullshit. Okay, so he goes on to basically just say, the only thing he said was heme iron is cancerous. And that's a bold-faced lie. Even what he read, if people were paying attention, he read my point and said complete iron or heme iron are from meat sources. Yes, he did. So let's just go on, because we already proved we had a discussion on protein. I proved that complete protein is meat and dairy sources. I also proved that the best iron is meat iron because it contains non-heme and heme. Plant iron only is non-heme iron, and you can't absorb it well. These are all facts, and I'll pay anyone $100 on the spot if they can point out one thing that I said was wrong. You can't. A lot of people in the chat are favoring Polight because they know him and don't know me. And they're trying to save face. But anyone, sane person listening, knows Nothing I said was a lie. Now, along with iron, we have what we call B12. It's similar, but not the same. And check this out. You can only get B12 from meat and dairy sources. You cannot get it from plants. The only way you can get B12 from plant sources is from a plant called purple laver. And vegans and vegetarians don't even fuck with that. Let me prove my point. People got a problem with every source you put on. This is PubMed. The sources of iron and heme is also PubMed. Says the same shit. Let's go. B12 sources, PubMed. A source that Polight always uses. Let's go. B12 sources and bioavailability. The usual dietary sources of B12 are animal foods. Can you guys read English? And when I tell one lie, point it out. And you get $100. The usual dietary sources of vitamin B12 are animal foods, it says. Meat, milk, egg, fish, and shellfish. Doesn't say plant sources anywhere. This is PubMed. In case you guys' hearing is bad, let's say it again. The usual dietary sources of vitamin B12 are animal foods. Meat, milk, egg, fish, and shellfish. Now, I said the only plant you can get it from is purple laver and some other plant. I can't remember the name. Other than that, you have to get it from fortified foods. Like somebody fortified or added to your cereal because as a vegan, you're an incomplete eater. So they got to fortify your food with B12 so you can get it. But it only comes from meat. And this is a fact. Okay. As intrinsic factor mediated, intestinal absorption system is eliminated to be saturated at about, let me just get to the meat because this is kind of.
You know, okay. Your screen is not showing, right? You ain't sharing your screen.
Oh, it's not?
No, I just got it on you. It's on you, but your screen is not showing.
Oh, my bad. Let me get it up because people didn't see the facts.
Yeah.
I'm just sitting here reading, thinking people looking at my screen.
I stopped the clock for you so you don't know. So you'll see it.
Can you see my screen now, sir?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Now I can.
Okay. Right. In case people didn't see, the screen is up now. PubMed. Vitamin B12 sources and bioavailability. The usual dietary sources of B12 are what it says. Can you read? Animal foods, meat, milk, egg, fish, and shellfish. Vitamin B12 in eggs seem to be poorly absorbed. They're trying to tell you it's better than meat relative to other animal food products. Where'd I leave off at? In the dietary reference intakes in the United States and Japan, it is assured that 50% of dietary vitamin B12 is absorbed by healthy adults with normal gastrointestinal function. Some plant foods, dried green and purple laver, like I said earlier, contain substantial amounts of B12. So let's be clear. Vitamin B12 only comes from meat sources. You can get it from 1 or 2 plant sources, and the main one is purple laver. Other than that, if you're vegan, vegetarian, you're not eating meat and dairy, you're not getting no B12. Period. Prove me wrong. Unless it's fortified in foods. So the plant foods that it has, because I'm thorough and I don't like to be unbiased, I don't like to be biased, I'm unbiased. Some plant foods, and they list them, dried green and purple laver contain substantial amounts of vitamin B12. But the thing about it is no vegetarian or vegan even fuck with purple laver, and they didn't even know because they're not scientifically literate and don't do this research. Polight ought to be ashamed of himself for lying. This whole debate started because I made a video proving that Polight lied in the previous video when he was big upping saying plant-based, plant protein contains all the essential amino acids. He bold-faced lied to the public. And that's why we're here today. I'm here correcting Polight and giving you the facts. Whether you like it or not, it's the facts. You can make up your own opinion all you want, but the facts is iron and protein is complete in meat and incomplete in plants. B12 is in meat and only in purple laver in plants. These are the facts. Now, in case somebody didn't see earlier and said Polight won around, when did he run around about iron or protein? When? So all that is cancerous is a made-up lie that he just lied to the public on purpose. That's intellectual treason. Okay? It says again, in case you didn't see, heme iron is more easily absorbed and is therefore a large source of dietary iron for people with both with and without hemochromatosis. Non-heme iron is usually less readily absorbed than heme iron. I don't care where you look that up, it's a fact. I concede my time.
All right, all right. Moving into the third and final round, Brother Polight, and then we will begin to open up the floor after I ask these questions. Brother Polight, it's on you. And Chief X, you unshare your screen, brother. Unshare your screen, Chief X.
Okay, my bad.
Brother Polight, it is on you. Time will start, brother. Your last and final round.
Okay. Are you going to ask any milk questions, Sarnetta? Because he said the third round he would do milk, and he totally ignored it.
We'll get him in there. We'll ask all these questions. Let's go.
All right. I'm only asking that question because he threw away his third round in a endeavor to refute the previous rounds that he was getting his behind kicked in. So I just want everyone to know, if you play it back, he'll let you know we're going to do milk in the third round, and he threw away the third round so he could redeem himself the previous rounds. Just so everybody knows for the record. I got time. I got time.
Time starts, brother.
Go ahead. I got time. I got time.
Would you like me to go ahead on milk real quick?
I
can knock out two birds. I can knock out two birds with one stone.
Hey, brother, I don't mind if Sa don't mind.
I don't mind. If you want to give him some time.
Yeah, I want to give him some time to do milk.
Okay, brother. Hold on. Giving you some extra time, brother.
Hey, give him like 3 minutes.
Okay. Hold on. Let me give him 3 minutes.
Yeah, I'm a complete brother. I'm not an incomplete brother.
Yeah, you would have completed your round. Go ahead, man. Give you 3 minutes.
All right. Hold on, Polight. Put it on mute. Chief, it's on you, my brother. I'm giving you an extra 3 minutes. Polight agreed to give you 3 minutes. Let me know when you're ready, Chief.
I'm ready. I stay ready, bro.
All right. Time will start now. Let's go.
Okay, let's go real quick. We're just going to break down milk because Polight seems to act like I'm running on shit when we touched on every topic, and we're going to keep touching on every topic. Protein, iron, let's go to milk. We can go to B12. We can go to all of them. I'm right on all of them. Milk, this is PubMed. Okay? Let's just see so you can see. PMC, PubMed. Milk and dairy products. Good or bad for human health? An assessment of the what? Totality of scientific evidence. Hey, see, when Dr. Wesley Muhammad was talking about milk is liquid gold and all this stuff, Dr. Wesley Muhammad was actually right.
Uh-oh.
Polight Minky was wrong. Woo! They don't give milk to pets and all these animals and stuff because it's not nutritious. They don't sit here and feed a baby cat no sea moss. They don't feed the baby cat water, Kool-Aid, or none of that stuff. They give these pets milk sometimes when their mother isn't available. But let's go. Background. There is skepticism about the health effects of dairy products in the public, which is reflected in an increasing intake of plant-based drinks, for example, soy, rice, almond, or oat. Now, there's skepticism because you got people like Polight, the vegan community, all these memes showing cows and shit. All that is hyperbole and exaggeration. And it's biased scholarship. We're going to get to the real scholarship because I just read it. It said what? Milk and dairy products, good or bad for human health. The assessment of the what? Totality of scientific evidence. Let's make it real brief. I got 1 minute. Let me go. This review aimed to assess the scientific evidence mainly from meta-analysis of observational studies and randomized controlled trials on dairy intake and risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, cardiovascular disease, osteoporosis, cancer, and all-cause mortality. Results. The most recent evidence suggested that the intake of milk and dairy products was associated with reduced risk of childhood obesity. Say what you want, but the facts say otherwise. Reduced risk of childhood obesity. In adults, intake of dairy products was shown to improve body composition and facilitate weight loss during energy restriction. In addition, intake of milk and dairy products was associated with a neutral or reduced risk of type 2 diabetes and a reduced risk of cardiovascular disease, particularly stroke. Furthermore, the evidence suggests a beneficial effect of milk and dairy intake on bone mineral density, but no association with the risk of bone fracture. Is my time up, sir? How much time I got?
Yeah, go ahead. We're giving you an extra a minute. Go ahead.
Okay.
This out.
I want to be fair because I'm a fair brother. Spanking Polight. Furthermore, the evidence suggests a beneficial effect of milk and dairy intake on bone mineral density, but no association with risk of bone fracture. Among cancers, milk and dairy intake was inversely associated with colorectal cancer, bladder cancer, gastric cancer, and breast cancer, and not associated with risk of pancreatic cancer, ovarian cancer, or lung cancer, while the evidence for prostate cancer risk was inconsistent. So to be clear, if people have bad reading comprehension and don't know terms well, when it says inverse, let me just read this part because people will freak out.
All right, Brother Chief, you done?
Yeah, I'm done. We can move on.
Okay, we're moving on over to Brother Polight. And Brother Polight, this will be your third and final round. To be fair, Chief X, would it be all right if I was to give Polight an extra 2 minutes and you would still have more minutes?
Absolutely. I'm a righteous brother.
Okay, so we're going to give you 10 minutes, Polight, on this last and final round, my brother. And it's unmute yourself, Polight. Unmute yourself. Unmute yourself, brother. Brother Polight, unmute yourself.
I don't know if we can hear you. Also, to be clear, milk is not good for people who are lactose intolerant. But if you're not lactose intolerant, you're fine, and it's very nutritious. Milk is the most nutritious juice or drink on earth, period.
Yeah. So,
all right, Brother Polight, you have 10 minutes.
I don't want. Hey, I want to be fair. I do not want the extra time.
Okay, so we're going to take that off. We're going to give you the 8 minutes, brother.
That's right. And then we'll get into the questions. I haven't heard nothing that sounds too intense. I'm still lacking the factual evidence or proper refutation. So I don't want to prolong this any further. I would like to get into questions and then talk to the audience.
All right, let's go. It's on you. Let's get it.
All right, all right. Okay, let's do this real quick. Let's do this. Keep my 8 minutes. Yeah, at about good 15. That's good. Okay, so let's take it from the top. Because he said that he'll give $1,000 or $100 if he's lied or was incorrect by anything. So again, he said there was 20 amino acids. And I'm going here. Let me go here. Let me go here. He said here, he does not care where you Google the information. That's where he goes wrong. I care. So even though I'm doing some of this stuff on the fly, well, all of this is on the fly. The thing is, I've already put time in for study. So I'm not going to screenshot something very fast, put it up there and get caught out there in a lie. I'm only going to look for the information I know to be true per my years of study. That's the difference. He is waiting for me to say something so he can look it up, and then I got to keep shutting him down like, bruh. So when he says he does not care where you Google the information, he should care where you Google the information, because who knows who's giving out this information? Case in point, white supremacists. Case in point, the studies he may be grafting these ideas from may be more exclusive to a certain gender or race. So yes, we have to be concerned where we're Googling the information from. Here's another case in point. He told you there was only 20 amino acids, and he's making it sound like they are in a lab manufacturing the other two I told you about. Selenocysteine and pyrrolysine. He told you that there were only essential and non-essential amino acids, but he still hasn't up to now told you the significance of the semi-essential amino acids in contrast to the non-essential and essential. So we caught him out there. All right. He said that we will not be able to find nowhere on the internet where we can get a whole protein. And I told you this is a misnomer for people who don't study bacterial genetics. This is a misnomer for people who don't study microbial biology. That's why I can tell you that protein, a whole protein, is a misnomer. A complete protein is a misnomer. That's a way to keep people out of the education of naturopathy and holistic health. I dare him to ask me what I mean by that, so I can then teach him, because I leave holes on purpose. All right. So he said we would not be able to find this information anywhere where we can get a plant source. He said it. You can replay it. And guess what? We found quinoa right here as a plant source. He said he didn't care where you Google it, wherever you find it from. You can't get it. You can't find it. You're not going to get a complete protein from any plants. And by the way, quinoa is not the only plant with the so-called or the purported complete protein, but I disagree with that verbiage because it gives people the wrong impression. But it makes sense to people who only think there are essential amino acids and non-essential amino acids and fail to realize the semi-essential amino acids. It makes sense to someone who only thinks it's 20 amino acids when it's actually 2 more amino acids. It makes perfect sense for him to confide in a complete protein, because you think the protein is complete if you don't even know how much damn amino acids the body has or needs. So it makes perfect sense. Find out where he lied or made a mistake. I'm just accepting what he said in his round, that he made up a round. The round's supposed to be about milk. He made the damn thing up. I said, I don't mind. Give him some more time. So then he said, I said, let's go back here where the corrections are. He said that I said iron was cancerous. I said that there's a place where iron, hold on. I said the source from which you wish to get our iron is carcinogenic. He did not address the fact that it is carcinogenic. He didn't say that I was lying. He didn't say that I was wrong. You know why? Because he absolutely is wrong. And I show you here, is heme iron a carcinogen? I show you where to go, irondisorders.org. Okay? And then we read it. Iron can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage. We need to remember that, people, what DNA damage is. We're about to get into that when we go into milk, because the milk damages your damn DNA. Okay? So iron can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage, and heme iron can catalyze endogenous formation, which means it's internal, of N-nitroso compounds, which are potent carcinogens. So if you choose to get your iron from meat, it makes you more vulnerable and susceptible to cancer. One of the main reasons being there is no shut-off clause. You're going to keep eating this heme iron because it's so easily absorbed that your body doesn't get a chance to really assess what the hell is coming into it, and it doesn't have a chance to say you've given us too much because it's easily absorbed. Think about it like a microwave. Microwaving your food isn't as healthy as cooking it on the stove slower. If the heme iron is that easy to be absorbed, it doesn't give your body an opportunity to properly assess what it is, and it is a carcinogen. The shutoff button in plants when you get iron is sucrose, and sucrose gives you an effect where you feel like throwing up if you had too much of that plant. So that plant will stop you from taking in too much of the iron fluorine. It'll stop you from taking in too much of the proteins that's available. It has a shutoff limit. The meat doesn't. It's a fact. I'm saying these things so you can look it up. B12 only can be found from one plant, he says. He said you can look it up. You ain't going to see it come from no other plants, and I'm teaching you vegans. There are several sources. I'm going to give you one more. It says right here, vitamin B12 is generally found in all animal foods except honey. Hold on. Honey is a good source of B12 now? He told us there was only one purple plant. Now honey is on the list. He's wrong again. He is wrong again. How many rounds has he been wrong every time I refute his claims? Every damn round. And I gave him an extra 3 minutes because I knew he was going to be wrong again for another 3 damn minutes. So vitamin B12 is generally found, and it was more than 3 minutes. He had about 15 minutes plus. And I didn't mind, and I still want the same amount of time that I got right now. Vitamin B12 is generally found in all animal foods except honey. But there is no reliable B12 in plant foods, including tempeh, seaweeds, and organic produce. Luckily, vitamin B12 is made by bacteria and doesn't need to be obtained from animal products. Hold on. We're missing something. B12 is made by bacteria and doesn't need to be obtained from animal products. Think about that. We're going to go to that. Oh, look at this. Lack of sunlight using sunblocks and eating processed foods. Lack of sunlight using sunblocks and eating processed foods, a combination that may lead to both vitamin D and B12 deficiencies. Hold on, people. Let me tell you where you get B12 from. First of all, what's a vitamin? Vitality. Vitamin equals vitality or sustenance. Amen is the sun god. So you get your sustenance from the sun. So you get your vitamins from sun exposure. B12 is produced from sun exposure, and it is an organism, not an alphanumeric. And the name of the organism is cobalamin. There go amen again. The sun god. B12 is an organism that exists in the small intestine called cobalamin. B12 is a bacteria, as you just read, and it's created in the sun, in the small intestine when you get sun exposure. It's also in that damn purple plant you thought you was teaching us about. And it's also in the honey. Now, the only people that need to get this damn B12 from weird sources like meat are people who are meatheads, who don't allow authentic information to seep in when the vegan is telling the damn truth. So B12, vitamin, is actually an organism, not an alphanumeric. Now let's go into the damn milk. I'll take the 2 minutes. This is like, why is milk bad for you? I can tell you right now. First of all, milk is allowed to have 750,000 somatic cells, a euphemism for pus. It's allowed to have 24,000 live bacteria before the Food and Drug Administration takes it off the shelf. It is pasteurized, in which a process that they use radiation to prolong the shelf life of the food. But that's not it. And somatic, again, is a euphemism for pus. That's why we don't want our people drinking any damn milk. But let's go a little further. There are cow hormones in milk. What is a hormone? A hormone gives you instructions. Instructions to do what? Instructions to grow or facilitate other tasks that are pertinent to your livelihood. You're telling us we need to get our instructions, hormones, from the cow. So the instructions that your body gets is for a 65-pound cow to turn into a 400-pound organism. And then we wonder why we're suffering from obesity, because it distorts and compromises the integrity of the thyroid gland. Okay? And you wind up getting hypo or hypertension, where you're either overweight or lacking in size. Secondly, when you take in cow protein, people, when you take in cow protein, write this down, look it up, and then tell me if I'm lying. First of all, cow protein has caseomorphine in it. What is caseomorphine? It is a drug. Morphine is a drug. And they have to drug their children to make sure that the mother is compliant with the heavy load of constantly giving her child the milk. So the cow produces drugs. These drugs, when we take in cow's milk, make us vulnerable and susceptible to addiction later on in our lives, especially us being the only ones in the animal kingdom that still want to drink milk in adulthood. So look up caseo, C-A-S-E-O, morphine. Look up caseomorphine in the meantime and see that it's inside of cow's milk. Why is that important? Because the milk we get from our mothers is high in oxytocin, which is the equivalent to the caseomorphine as far as the relativity and the connection of the child and the mother. That is not cancerous, and it does not make you susceptible or vulnerable to addiction because it's not morphine. So you have caseomorphine, which is cancerous, versus oxytocin that comes out of the breast milk of the mother, which is also called the bonding hormone, because it makes her want to continue to breastfeed should she actually give it a chance. And it makes her more protective of her child. One last thing. The protein that you take in when you drink milk is high in sulfur-containing amino acids. I'll go further later, but let me tell you this. The sulfur-containing amino acids that you only get from cow's protein, which is why it's important to learn what selenocysteine is as the 21st protein. We could talk about that later. The sulfur-containing amino acids, because literally the sulfur is replaced by the selenium. The sulfur-containing amino acids that you get when you drink cow's milk, for whatever damn reason you think you need to drink that cow's milk, what you need to understand is those sulfur-containing amino acids distorts or compromise the integrity of the pH. It makes your blood acidic. Why is that important? Because it's destroying your DNA. How's it destroying your DNA? Because DNA has genes, and genes have code for proteins to facilitate their job. Okay? What does this mean? This means that there's a group of proteins that forms a biomolecular structure called an enzyme, that where the enzyme needs to attach to that which it needs to break down or build is called a substrate at its native site. And if that protein is, if the food you eat changes your pH, it causes the enzyme to be denatured and it can't break down the food properly in the form of you being sick. We could talk about it later. He knows nothing about proteins. He knows nothing about cells. He knows nothing about the endoplasmic reticulum. He knows nothing about the Golgi apparatus. He knows nothing about organelles. He knows nothing about ribosomes. He knows nothing about reverse transcriptase. He knows nothing about tryptophan. He knows nothing about any of this. This shit is like, do this blindfold. I ain't gotta read nothing.
All right, let's get it in. All right, we are now at the stage of questions. If you have anything to add on, Chief X, you can do it in the round of questions. When you answer the question, the quicker you answer your question, you can begin to go into other things. And, you know, what do you suggest, Polight, is a good thing for the questions? 2 minutes?
What, for the questions you got?
Yeah, I'm not going to let no time. I'll just let y'all, you know, wild out on this one.
I just think you should have a limit to how long.
Okay.
No, but I don't think we gotta always do that amount of time. Just
right.
A limit.
All right. The limit will be at least 3 minutes.
Give us 4. Give us
4 minutes. 4 minutes. 4.
I think the people are enjoying this. You almost got 2,000 people in here. I think they feeling this health conversation.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you already know. So the limit will be 4 minutes. All right, Chief X, is that cool?
4 minutes for what exactly?
I'm going to start asking questions. And when listen, so you'll understand. When I ask you the question, you can answer the question, and then you can also go into stuff that you maybe didn't talk about on your last, you know, on your 3 rounds. So there you go. So here's the first question for you, Brother Chief X. Why do you feel that meat is better than plants? Some basic stuff. Why do you feel that meat is better than plants, Chief X?
Now, to be clear, Polight's trying to spin a narrative that I'm against plants or that plant is not nutritious. Okay. Never have I said that, and nor do I believe that. Plants is extremely nutritious. Meat is nutritious. It's all nutritious and good for you. Okay. Just meat just so happens to give you a better quality protein and better quality iron. Meat is also recommended by doctors to be given to growing children. Like I tell a lot of vegans and vegetarians, I don't think you should just push that on your growing child, right? And all doctors recommend that children who are still growing be given some meat, at least fish, and dairy products and milk, because it helps with bone density and things like that. So I've already proven that the meat iron and the meat protein is of a seriously higher quality than plant protein and plant iron. And this is just irrefutable. Okay, so I was gonna go into something else, but that's my answer to that question.
Okay, you could have went into something else.
Okay, I'll go. Let's go.
Yeah, well, let me just be clear, because Polight has said this 3 times and totally lied to the public on purpose, and he should know better. He keeps mentioning sulfur-containing amino acids. So when people hear sulfur amino acids, they freak out. But Polight is lying. Sulfur-containing amino acids is necessary and great. Okay. Well, I got my screen up, but I was going to prove my point, but I don't want to take too long.
2 minutes.
Yo, we've been giving him extra time each time. He could do that his next question around.
All right, yes, Chief. Do that on your next time. Yeah. So we keep moving right along. Brother Polight, the question I have for you is vice versa. Okay. Why do you feel that plants are better than meat, that we need to eat more plants than, we shouldn't even go the route of the meat. Why do you feel that plants are better than meat, Brother Polight?
Because they have the essential amino acids that we can go by. We also have plants that give us the complete protein, though I don't like to use that particular phraseology because it can be very distractive, very disruptive, and very deceptive. However, we saw quinoa being one. All right. Here's another reason. If you look at our digestive tract in contrast to the animals, you would see that there's an immense contrast. So my digestive tract versus other animals, they're able to process this food a lot better. Our digestive tract is more conducive for water-soluble food because it's going to take a longer period of time for us to break it down in the first place. And our energy and what we got to do is on high demand, so we got to be very conservative about when it suffices to take in certain energy. Here's another thing I want people to consider. You may want to season your food with curry. You may want to season your food with black pepper. You may want to season your food with tarragon or cilantro or any of those other things. But you never feel like seasoning your plants with it. You know why? Because you're seasoning your meat with plants. That's why. The proteins that you're lucky to survive off of is because you're seasoning your meat with plants. We don't go out our way to season our plants with plants. We normally just eat the plants as is. We don't go out our way to season our fruits with plants. We normally eat the fruits as is. But we will not eat meat unless we season it with plants. Think about that. And you wonder why you're at least surviving a little longer. Because you're getting your proteins from the plants that you're seasoning the meat with. And that's helping to help delineate or buffer some of the acidity and the compromise that you get from processing the meat in the first place. So I'll say this again. You're not going out your way to season plants with plants. You're going out your way to season meat with plants. Think about that for a second. And the iron that you get from the plants, we read it, is carcinogenic. And there is no limit. There is no turn-on switch. It's so easily available. He thinks that's a good thing. The iron is so easily available, so easily assimilated, able to go into the bloodstream so quick that we don't even have a turn off switch for something that is carcinogenic. I didn't say iron is carcinogenic. I said heme iron is carcinogenic. And if you leave it up to the meat eaters, they'll say, this meat is just like medicine. It may cause painful erection, nausea, dry mouth, and all this other stuff. He like, yo, eat the heme iron. So what if it's carcinogenic? Don't try to get another source of iron. Just keep eating this. At least you get strong and big. Huh. This is the ignorance and the caveman mentality. Secondly, our body cannot break things down the same way as other people's bodies. When I'm teaching this information, I'm catering specifically to the melanite. I'm catering specifically to those whose genome are more corresponding as those indigenous to Africa. That's the people I'm talking about. I'm not talking about everybody else. We are not the same. White folks ain't walking around with sickle cell anemia. We're not the same. Okay, we have a higher ratio of getting diabetes. We're not the same. We have a higher ratio of lactose intolerance. We're not the same. So take into consideration that the people that are administering this information are administering this information primarily for their race. You have to take the time out to go to gender-specific and race-specific dietary regimens in order to know how to properly facilitate life.
All right, Brother Chief X. Oh, man. What should we do to find out how we should eat and drink? What is your suggestion? What do you recommend, my brother?
What we should eat and drink?
Yes. How we should eat and how we should drink. Like, what do you recommend? How do you recommend that?
Okay. See, I always tell people, because people be on this acid alkaline talk, and things like that. So check it out. It doesn't matter if your food is alkaline or acidic. It makes no never mind. Anything you ingest in the body becomes acidic once it hits your gut. What the concern is the nutritional value of the food that you're eating. What is the nutritional value of that food, and is it good? Okay? That's all we need to know. Our body needs vitamins, minerals, and proteins. Period. All human bodies need vitamins, mineral, and protein. We don't give a fuck if you black, white, Chinese, Samoan, Japanese, Russian. It doesn't matter. So for Polight to be speaking this, I'm speaking to black folk. This is for black folk, is a bunch of bullshit. He's trying to cater to your emotions. Human beings are 99.9% the same. Stop spinning that lie. Okay? Vitamin, you know, protein works the same, whether you're Samoan, black, Mexican, from Kazakhstan, or wherever you're from. So let's stop with the hyperbole and bullshit. Everything I've showed, everything I spoke on, everything, I provided proof and shown it without a shadow of a doubt. Polight is just talking, running his mouth, being emotional. Okay? The debate is about iron, protein, and milk, and which one is better. All I'm saying is that milk is nutritious. People have to have good listening comprehension. Milk is nutritious. Period. It may not be good for people who are lactose intolerant, but for the rest of the world outside of them, it's great nutritional value. You cannot name one drink on planet Earth that has more nutritional value. Listen to the words. That has more nutritional value than milk. That's why it's given to babies and things of that nature, and different baby animals and things of that nature. Just for short. So what the answer to your question is, what has great nutritional value, eat that.
All right. Brother Polight, do you understand the question? Is that a good question for you, brother? The same question. What should we do to find out how we should eat?
Yeah, I understand the question.
And drink?
I understand the question.
What do you recommend, brother?
Hold on. Let me see if I can, because I want to address something that he said too. Okay. Okay, I want to address some stuff he said. But before we do that, oh boy, Chief X, you are something else.
Okay. You all need to get on the topic of iron protein.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I hear you. We're gonna talk about what you talking about. That's what we're gonna do. Don't worry, we're gonna
No, we're gonna talk about the debate topic.
No, we're gonna talk about what you're talking about.
Hold on, y'all. Hold on.
It ain't me. He's talking about
this right now, y'all. Go ahead.
It's easy every time. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Let me just get this BS out the way. 99.9% of all people are the same. That's a damn lie. You can just look up the diseases that affect us primarily. So why are some genetic conditions? This is from the U.S. National Library of Medicine. Okay, ghr.nlm.nih.gov. Why are some genetic conditions more common in particular ethnic groups? Some genetic disorders are most likely to occur among people who trace their ancestry to a particular geographic area. People in the ethnic group often share certain versions of their genes, which have been passed down from common ancestors. If one of these shared genes contains a disease-causing mutation, a particular genetic disorder may be more frequently seen in the group. Examples of genetic conditions that are more common in particular ethnic groups are sickle cell disease, which is more common in people of African American or Mediterranean heritage, and Tay-Sachs disease, which is more likely to occur among people of Ashkenazi, Russian, Eastern and Central European, Jewish or French Canadian ancestry. It is important to note, however, that these disorders can occur in any ethnic group. Now, so what we need to figure out is this, okay? This concept, and I'm just using disease as an example. We can also do this, people. We can also say who has more lactase in their body than others. I didn't say lactose, I said lactase. Lactose is a disaccharide. What is, we say amino acids, family, but I know damn well the average person don't know what they are. Okay, we just know that they're monomers. Amino acids are monomers of protein. That's how we would say it in the biology world. They're monomers. You guys will say they're the building blocks of life. And then when I ask you what you mean by building blocks of life, you will go blank. You can ask Chief X, what does building blocks of life mean when he says it? He will not say that, he will not give an accurate biological account of what these biomolecular structures are. So let me walk you through something real quick. If it has an ASE at the end of it, it is an enzyme, and it was precipitated by amino acids in accumulation. So we can render most enzymes proteins. And for this particular model, we're talking about proteins. So an enzyme is a specialized protein. That's one. Let's do this. Look at my hand real quick, people. Let's say this is lactase. First of all, if you hear lipase, that breaks down lipids. If you hear amylase, like salivary amylase in your saliva, amylase breaks down sugar or starch. Protease breaks down protein. And that's interesting that you even have protease there. But that's another conversation. So lactose, if you hear an OSE, it most likely is a sugar. If you hear an ASE, it's most likely an enzyme. So the ASEs are always gang banging on the OSEs. That's how we got to look at it. So we're 99.9% the same people? No, black people have a small amount of lactase. Therefore, when the huge molecule called, y'all ready? Lactose, which is a disaccharide, meaning it's not just a sugar, it's a double sugar. It's a disaccharide, di meaning two. It's so big that the body has to put in extra work. But black people only make enough lactase for the most part for their maturation stages, for them to get it from their mother, because they don't need instructions for growth and development after a certain age. Therefore, we don't need milk after a certain age. Therefore, we're the weirdest animals in the kingdom still looking to drink milk after a certain age, when you can look at all the other animals in their adult age not going to their mothers for milk. But this man not only wants us to drink milk in our adult age, he wants us to drink milk in our adult age from a cow.
All right.
Hold on. Nah, this is my time to shine now. I gave him plenty time. This is where I want to use my time. Because we got teach.
No, we have a moderator. We have a moderator,
Yeah,
Polight.
hold on, Polight.
We have a moderator.
Let's wait till you get back to the next time, because I gave you a little extra, and I want to go to the next question. Yeah, go ahead, Polight.
All fairness, I didn't cry when we gave him extra time. I didn't cry when he spoke during the time I'm looking for my slides. All I ask is for this time around, let me get my little extra time. That's all I'm asking.
Yes. Yes, sir. Is that cool, Chief?
No.
He ain't a gentleman like
he's off topic.
He ain't a gentleman.
No, listen to what I'm saying.
Hold on. Let's keep it the way it's going right now, y'all.
Listen.
I want to
listen to what I'm saying.
Go ahead, Chief. I want to ask the next question, and then y'all can go in on more. That's why I said we still need to get this more time. Here's the next question for you, Chief. Is fasting pseudoscience? Is fasting actually healthy and good for our human body? Let's say it like that.
I have nothing against fasting, so I really didn't want to talk about that.
Is fasting pseudoscience, right? Does fasting is it actually healthy for the human body? You got me?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Fasting is fine. I don't know why Polight wanted to bring that up, but to my understanding,
you agree to it.
Right. To my understanding, fasting. Hold on. To my understanding, fasting is good if not over 30 hours. From the research I've done, once you begin fasting over 30 hours, you begin to take nutrients from other parts of your body. You know what I mean? So I have no problem with fasting. It's a good thing, you know, but just not over 30 hours. Well, I don't think me and Polight have a disagreement with fasting.
All right, Brother Polight.
Wait a second, though. But wait a second.
Go ahead.
Just for Polight calling me liars and stuff. Everything I've shown is a fact. What did I say, and what does this say? If you guys can read, as a molecular biologist, this last one. Excuse me. Let me see. The data shows that the DNA of any two human beings is 99.9% identical. And we all share the same set of genes, scientifically validating that the existence of a single biological human race and one origin for all human beings. In short, we are all brothers and sisters. What Polight was talking about was different disease afflictions that affect different races. I have no problem with that. That's not what I said. I said human beings are 99.9% identical, and that's a fact. If he wanted to change the conversation to do affliction, we have different types of diseases and stuff, that's fine, but he didn't say that. That's called mind games is what he was doing. I have the sickle cell trait. It's a trait given people in West Africa in general have, right? My daughter's mother has the sickle cell trait. My daughter ended up getting and she has a sickle cell trait. She ends up getting with a guy, and he has both of them together have a baby. My grandbaby has full-blown sickle cell. I'm very clear on diseases and how they differ with people. My point was we're 99.9% identical with genes and things of that nature, and that's a fact. Stop lying to the people and playing these mind games, Polight. Keep it real on here. That's it.
All right, Brother Polight. Same question. Fasting. Is fasting healthy for the body? Is fasting pseudoscience?
Let me do this real quick. Let me make sure I got you on my screen and I can see you. You can see me. Okay, I think I can see you. You can see me?
Yes.
Yeah, ask me that question, and then I shall continue to work on what I was working on prior. What's the question?
The question is fasting a pseudoscience? Is fasting actually healthy and good for the human body.
That's good. I want to make it clear that I was told that he agreed to the contrast and the arguments. These things were proposed to him. Now that we're on the stream, as we get to the latter stages, it's coming off like I don't even know what we were supposed to. We was only supposed to talk about these two things. These 4 premises were written. That's what I want to make clear. Now, is fasting good for us? Absolutely so. You have to understand the endocrine system. And if you did, you wouldn't tell us to drink cow's milk. Because, again, insulin, as an example, is a hormone. All right? So that gives instructions. So in endocrine system, let's talk about the pituitary gland. Okay? What's the pituitary gland? Let's think about it. It's called the master gland. It's part of the endocrine system. And the master gland corresponds with the liver, because I know I'm on time constraint. So we really need more time to break this stuff down. The master gland corresponds with the liver. Let's say that. And anytime you're not eating, the liver's producing insulin-like growth factor 1, which is IGF-1, insulin growth-like factor 1. The reason why it's insulin-like is because when you're eating, you're producing insulin, which comes from the pancreas. Okay? His screen is being shared. I don't know why it's being shared while I'm talking.
I'm sharing your screen, Chief X.
Okay, my bad. Are we good now?
Your screen is completely being shared. It's even sharing me. Just take off the screen share.
My bad.
Yeah, and as you can clearly see, he was looking up insulin growth like factor 1.
I already have that.
It's my time to talk. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's my time to talk. It's no problem, brother. It's no problem. Like I said, as I speak, he's gonna have to look these things up, and that's why he's
so much wrong like that. Be real.
No problem. You're talking during my time. I can say whatever I want during my time.
We're having an adult conversation.
Yo, bro, you're talking during my time, bro. What's up?
Yes, I am talking during your time, nigga. I'm explaining.
Hold on. Chief, you're doing great right now, brother.
Yeah, lie to him.
Let's not get it like this, brother. You're doing good, brother.
Hey.
Let Polight finish his time and you getting it, Chief. We want to end this fight. We don't want to end it with the beefing now. We doing
I ain't beefing. I don't deal with beef. I'm vegan.
Go ahead, Polight. Finish off, brother.
Yeah, that's that meat behavior. That's what I'm talking about. He's undisciplined. He's eating all that damn meat. So, as I said, as I'm teaching, you're going to see, I can tell he's Googling everything I'm saying because he's shooting from the hip. So you're dealing with someone who learned this for years of study versus someone microwaving the information.
Polight, I did not insult you. If you want to insult somebody, we can get ignorant.
We don't want to do all that, brother.
Okay, you want to insult me.
Hold on, Chief. Yeah, come on, Polight.
No, this is my time.
Right, but no insults, though, brother Polight.
How am I insulting him? I believe he's Googling the information as I'm teaching, and we just caught him Googling the information as I'm teaching.
All right.
Get your ass on topic. Get your ass on topic, Polight.
I am on topic.
Oh, my God. Don't mess up.
Hold on. The only reason we're doing this is because his screen share was a distraction.
Right.
That's the only reason.
All right, so let's get back on topic, man. Let's kill it. Let's dead it. Let's dead it, y'all.
Can't tell me what to talk. I'm not disrespecting him. I'm stating the obvious.
Polight, just teach. Go ahead. It's on you.
Okay, I'm stating the obvious. We saw insulin growth like factor pop up on the screen as I was talking, and it was him doing the damn research. From what I was saying, nothing wrong with that.
That's been up there, I said. Stop making accusations you don't know the fuck you talking about.
All right, come on, bro.
So, did I make an error when we saw insulin growth like
factor? No,
Polight, let's just move from that and move on with
you're saying that I'm Googling here. I'm telling you I'm not. That's why I said let's have an adult conversation. If you ask me, am I Googling, I will tell you yes, but I wasn't. So this is why I'm saying let's have an adult conversation, because you're getting silly. That's why. Let's just keep it real.
All right, come on, Chief. Just let him get through it. So you remember what I told you at the beginning? If he says something that you don't agree with, it's y'all time, and then y'all can go in on that. So come on, Polight. Enough of the clowning around.
I'm doing my best, bro.
Let's get to the knowledge, brother.
I'm not yelling and cursing and screaming.
No, I want to stay with the knowledge. Go ahead, brother.
I want you too. But he's not going to stop me from...
It don't matter if you're yelling or not, nigga. Get on topic and go.
Dang, why you so upset, man? Chill out, bro.
Come on, brother.
Hey, don't accuse me of shit. Ask me. I'm honest, nigga. I tell you.
You ain't honest because you say you.
Let me tell you. All this shit right here has been on my screen. I set this shit up before the debate hours ago because I knew you was gonna bring up this growth factor bullshit.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Man, that's been there hours ago. Ask me.
It just happened to pop up when I was so.
Yo, I would tell you if I just Googled it. I'll tell you, nigga. Ain't no shame in my game.
So tell us you just Googled it.
No, I didn't just Google it. Let's have a grown folk conversation.
Yo, calm down.
You can laugh to keep from crying. You didn't got smashed today on iron and protein.
I ain't the one screaming like a little faggot.
Okay, it don't matter. I don't care fuck if you screaming or not.
I ain't the one.
I'll scream if I want to.
Yeah, you screaming about what? It's a meat versus plant debate, and you going crazy.
Professional.
Why you so emotional in a meat versus plant?
Because you're making accusations and lying to the audience.
If I'm lying, then correct it. That's it.
If y'all want to end it, bro.
I don't want to end it. I want to keep teaching.
So come on, then, man. Let's go with the nonsense, bro.
It's not me cutting me off.
All right, come on, Chief. Chill. Let him go, man. Go ahead, Polight. Go. Go ahead.
I'm gonna chill. But if he insult me, I'm snapping. Trust me.
You can snap all you want. It doesn't make.
Okay, well, don't if you don't act like I'm tripping when you was the one that insulted.
Yo, bro, let me ask you something. All jokes aside, you acting like this because I said you're Google.
Nigga, you insulted me. That's why I'm talking. Period.
How did I insult you? You
Let her keep
I ain't go crazy.
Bullshit.
I didn't go crazy every time.
I'm answering your question. I didn't Google shit, nigga. You hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. You ain't Google.
Okay, leave it alone and move on.
So you can say I'm guilty of intellectual treason. You can say I keep lying. I didn't start yelling and screaming. I waited my turn.
I don't care who started the yelling and screaming, nigga. I started it.
What you don't care?
I started yelling and screaming. That's right.
You feel like a man? All that? No. You feel like a man? You feel more manly now after you
feel manly? You feel manly?
Yeah, I do, because I'm exercising.
Okay, well, we both do, nigga. Move on.
I'm definitely more manly than you.
Yeah, whatever.
I ain't screaming about no plans.
More manly than me.
Look who's screaming. Look who's crying.
It doesn't matter who's screaming, nigga. You scream plenty of times.
Yeah, to teach. I'm not screaming at you.
This is why we're doing this, nigga, because you lost the debate.
I think you're emotional.
No, I'm not emotional. You know what? I am emotional right now.
You are. We all agree to that.
Yeah, and that's okay.
No, it's not. Because you're
nigga, you're emotional. You're emotional. How about that?
You're screaming.
How about this? How about we both emotional?
All right. You're back and forth for a minute. I got both of y'all on mute for a minute. I let y'all go back and forth for a minute. Now let's get back to the information because we got 2,244 people listening. Let's not cheat them the closing of the information because I know some of them might want to call in and ask questions. I don't want to end the show abruptly. I don't want to do it. I did it before. I don't want to do it again. Let's get the information now. Both of y'all got it out. So now let's go, Brother Polight. Just finish up. You got 2 minutes, Polight. Go ahead. Unmute yourself, Polight. Unmute yourself. Let's go.
How I get 2 minutes when, first of all, we said every answer was going to be 4 minutes.
Right, because y'all both going crazy, man.
So you cutting my time? Like, because he's cutting me off during my time?
Hold on. I'm going to give you the 4 minutes. Just go right now. Nobody cut each other off. Chief X.
It's not me. You got to tell him.
Chief X, you got to let him finish whether you agree with him.
That's right.
Don't.
I'm sitting here quiet for the last 5 minutes.
Put your joint on mute, brother. It's no reason why it shouldn't be on mute, Chief.
I'm not even talking. Go, y'all. Go.
All right, go ahead, Polight.
Yeah,
number one, I don't want people to say, oh, Saul wasn't fair. Everybody see that I am being fair with both of you brothers. So let's go. Go ahead, Polight. You got the floor.
All right. So before we was really interrupted by that Google search, I just want to say that when we're dealing with insulin growth factor 1, that is produced by the liver when we are not eating. And when we are eating, insulin is produced by the pancreas. The reason why fasting is good, okay, is because our blood sugar levels can get back to the standard. Our homeostasis can now get back to the standard. Our osmoregulation can get back to the standard when we make eating subside. Because when we're eating, insulin has to be produced on demand. And we're constantly eating more than we should because the food that we eat does not feed the cells. So your body produces something that's insulin-like, blood sugar-like instructions so the cells can open up so they can metabolize, right? So your body produces this IGF that's similar to insulin just so it can not have the wear and tear go on with the actual pancreas. All right. Now, there was something else so fasting, yes, is definitely good. Okay. When we talk about the races being the same and different, yeah, the genome is the same of everybody out here, but what genes are on or off are not the same. These things are called operons, promoters, repressors, and inhibitors. And so you have the basis of the DNA, AT, CG, or AU, CG, when you're dealing with RNA, which is the messaging or the transcription that's conveyed from the DNA during transcription to turn into translation, where the proteins will learn what their job or their task needs to be. Okay, so every 3 bases is a codon or a code. So the 3 bases or the codons in Black people are different from the codons that's in European peoples or Mediterranean people. So we have certain things that turn off and on based on what circumstances? Sound and diet and type of air. This is called epigenetics. So our DNA is coded and we respond to different circumstances and scenarios based on climatic conditions, based on food that we eat. So some of the foods you're eating is turning off some of the codes in your genetics and turning on other codes in your genetics. And this creates a conflict of interest. We are not the same people. And it's a case in point, lactase being an enzyme, we have a lesser amount of lactase. It's not so much that we're lactose intolerant. It's the fact that we have lesser lactase enzymes that are able to break down lactose. You know why? Because we are different. And the problem is our source for lactase, our source for lactose outside of our mothers is high in sulfur-containing amino acids. He said, yo, Polight making sulfur sound bad. I didn't make sulfur sound bad. I'm saying when we go to plant-based foods, we take entirely too much sulfur-containing amino acids. It turns the pH of the body acidic, and then the enzymes that we need to break down the substrates, in this case, the substrate would be lactose, at the active site, the enzymes that's supposed to break these things down nicely become denatured. So this means that the enzymes become deformed, and then that which we need, it's like having a hammer that's missing the metal part and only the wood. When we take in foods that changes the pH, enzymes can only do their job based on a certain pH level or based on certain temperature. You don't want to work, okay, in a warehouse on a 100-degree day that doesn't have an air conditioning system. So the same thing with your enzymes. They need a certain amount of temperature, the right temperature to perform, and that's by way of the pH. So if you're taking it
time no more.
Yeah, he getting up right now. Polight time. Chief X, I do the same for you.
Oh, that's crazy.
I give you, like, when your time is up, it don't, I give you extra time. So let me do this. I'm gonna be fair with both of you. Brother Chief X, I'm asking you the question now, because when I finish, I got one more question, and then I'm gonna open up the phone lines for the people to ask y'all questions. So, here we go. Chief X, is milk healthy for us, even in our adult age? Is milk good and healthy for us, even into our adult age, Chief X? You got the floor.
Milk is nutritious, whether baby or an adult. Okay? Milk provides calcium and protein. Calcium and protein are healthy. This is basic elementary school. You learn this in elementary school. Okay? I just read PubMed, where it broke down everything about milk and told it how it's nutritious. Now, let me just be clear about something. Okay? Everything Polight said in that last spiel had nothing at all to do with the topic. He just wanted to dazzle you guys. I don't know what he was talking about. It has absolutely nothing to do with the topic. And to be clear again, I said there are 20 amino acids, and I was correct. Polight keeps saying I'm wrong, even though I said there are 2 other amino acids that are rare. I said this 3 times. Yes or no, Polight?
It's your time, brother. It's your turn.
No, okay. But I just wanted him to admit that. I said that 3 times. Now, Polight is harping on these 2 other ones, which are rare. And guess what, Polight? He lied again to the people. One of those amino acids he named called pyrrolysine. Anybody can look it up. It's encoded by the amber stop codon. It is not present in humans. So when I say it was 20 amino acids, I'm correct. 2 of them are rare. People don't even mention them 2. And 1 is not even found in humans. This is what I mean by the mind games, okay? The post is about protein, iron, which is better in plants or meat, period. Anything else he's talking is hyperbole and entertainment and got nothing to do with the topic at all. Okay, that's about it.
You still got 2 minutes, brother Chief. Go in. I mean, you can talk about anything else that you forgot. You got 2 minutes.
Okay.
You ain't got to show no slides, but you can just talk freestyle off the head.
Okay, I'm reading something, but I won't share my screen because it's taking a long time. Right. And he's talking about this sulfur-containing amino acids. You know what? Let me put it up real quick. I can just do this in 1 minute. Okay, can you see my screen, Sa?
Yes, it's on.
Okay, here we go. Sulfur-containing amino acids. He totally miseducated everybody about that. And they don't know any better because they never heard of it. They just feel it sounds good coming out of his mouth as he uses these words and things. Let's really break it down then. The scientific way, not his opinion, not his lying opinion. Methionine, cysteine, homocysteine, and taurine are 4 common sulfur-containing amino acids, but only the first 2 are incorporated into proteins. Sulfur belongs to the same group in the periodic table as oxygen, but is much less electronegative. This difference accounts for some of the distinctive properties of the sulfur-containing amino acids. Methionine is the initiating amino acids in the synthesis of virtually all eukaryotic proteins. Within proteins, many of the methionine residues are buried in the hydrophobic core, but some which are exposed are susceptible to oxidative damage. Cysteine, by virtue of its ability to form disulfide bonds, plays a crucial role in protein structure and protein folding pathways. Sulfur-containing amino acids is beneficial for the body. He's getting into a chemistry conversation and how things react inside your body. And he's trying to fool you by saying sulfur and acids when he knows you haven't read up on this. Sulfur-containing acids are beneficial to protein and needed. That's about it, sir. I just wanted to clear up that sulfur-containing amino acids bullshit.
Okay. Now, Chief X, I wanted to be clear. Notice he did not interrupt you. Whether he disagree with you or not, he will save it until it's his turn. That's the way he always did.
That's the way I do. But once he started telling me what I'm doing, and I'm Googling and insulting me, it changed the game.
No, you shouldn't let that bother you, Chief.
Okay, maybe I shouldn't. You're right.
Yeah, you battle ready for this shit, man. That's how we get it in. You gotta have strong skin and wait till it's your turn, then blow the fuck up on him. Go in. You know, gotcha. Don't do it on his time because it prolongs the joint. Unmute, share your screen, and Polight, the same question. Is animal milk healthy for us, and should we drink it into our adult age, brother Polight?
No, I'm going to tell you why we shouldn't be consuming animal milk. Hold on, waiting for the screen to stop sharing.
Yeah, it stopped.
Okay. No, I'm gonna tell you why we shouldn't be taking it in, because milk from cows has hormones. Hormones in short are instructions, and therefore if we're taking in cow's milk, we're taking in instructions from a cow to be a cow. All right, this is why we wind up with situations like childhood obesity, or this is why some people think they have a genetic predisposition to being fat, when in fact it is the instructions they got from cow's milk to make them heavier than they should be. Okay, all you have to do is check out your BMI or body mass index, and you can find out how much pounds overweight you may be. That's one. Two, I want to make it clear, only an ignorant person, that is to say someone who's not aware. Again, I want to make it clear, he keeps saying that I'm lying. I could be offended by it, but it's all right. Come just teach. First of all, I want to tell him that it's not eukaryotic, it's eukaryotic. Okay, and that's we're talking about the cells that have a nucleus as opposed to those that are prokaryotic. All right, so we're talking about eukaryotic. He's microwaving information. He's just now learning it. Safe to say that. Second of all, sulfur-containing amino acids. I didn't say it's a bad thing. I'm saying there are several amino acids, 22 in number. The type of amino acids that's found in meat in high amounts are sulfur-containing amino acids as opposed to the non-sulfur-containing amino acids, which causes the body to be overly acidic, which changes the temperature for the enzymes that are necessary to break down the foods that we eat. The enzymes are made of proteins, okay? And they denature, meaning become deformed, if what you're eating is changing your pH to something acidic, because some of those enzymes don't need to be in acidic environments. The enzyme that needs to be in an acidic environment is in your stomach with the HCl, hydrochloric acid. So no, I'm not telling you that sulfur is a bad thing. I'm telling you that with the 22 amino acids that exist, meat normally has the amount of sulfur-containing amino acids that poses as a detriment to us. Okay, so I just want to make that as clear as possible. And again, I just want to correct you again, as I do every slide. It's not called eukaryotic, it's called eukaryotic, in contrast to prokaryotic. And the difference between the two, because I know you don't know, one has a nucleus and one doesn't have a nucleus. Let's do that. All right. And now he also said sulfur-containing, what he said? He said that pyrrolysine is not in the body.
No.
But he said pyrrolysine.
Ask him the question if you want, Polight. You can ask him.
He said pyrrolysine does not exist in the body. He said that.
I said it's not present in humans. I'm reading it right here. I can put it on the screen.
Say it again. Say it again. I don't mind.
Pyrrolysine, encoded by the amber stop codon, is an amino acid that is used in the biosynthesis of proteins in some methanogenic archaic in bacteria. It is not present in humans. Do you want me to put it on the screen?
No problem. I didn't say you're lying.
All right.
Okay. Hey, hold on.
So my point was, we have 20 amino acids and 2 are rare. I've said this 5 times.
Yeah, I don't have a problem. All of that is okay. I agree. Let me finish, Chief. Go ahead. Now, the point he was making about it not being in the body makes me want to say no shit, Sherlock, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because if you start off this debate breaking down how there's 20 amino acids when I know it's 22, and he asked this, Polight, didn't I tell you that there's 2 other ones, but they're rare? Yes, after I made the citation that there existed 22. You didn't come up with that by yourself. You came up with that because of me. The only reason you started talking about the other 2 is because I told you the names of them so you can look them up. So when you say, Brother Polight, ain't I the one that, no, I'm the one that presented to you your fallacy. And since then, you've been saying these terms because of me. That's 1. 2, pyrrolysine. Think about it. Oh, it's not in the human body. You know what disturbs me when he goes out his way to say that? The 9 essential amino acids are not in the body either. We have to get them from outside the body. So this tells me he doesn't even know what the hell he's reading. Okay, so pyrrolysine is not in the body. I agree. But what you think an essential amino acid is? Those are amino acids that are also not in the body, that you got to get them from an external source. But only a person that knows what they're talking about can do this. Now, anybody can look it up. And that's why I told him his first error was saying it was only 20 essential amino acids. His second error was saying that there are only essential and non-essential amino acids, but not recognizing that there are semi-essential amino acids and the combination and contrast amongst them all. So yes, brother, I agree. Just like that amino acid doesn't exist in the body, that's what a non-essential amino acid means. It means that they don't exist in the body either, guy. That's what it means. You're not saying something special.
I agree.
All right, here we go.
What is the point?
Now that I've been asking you, Chief, hold on, Chief X. I want to go to you, Polight, because I ask Chief X all the time. So this time I want to be able to ask you, Polight. Chief X can feed off of what your response is. So now I ask Polight this question. Come on, Polight. Come on, brother.
Yo, if I find something funny, forgive me, man. I'm keeping
on. Go ahead. Here we go. Why is the pH of the body so important? And do we really have to drink alkaline water in food, Polight?
Hey, I'm gonna tell you this.
Go ahead.
There's nothing wrong with a little acid in the body. But even if you take something acidic, such as, let's say, a key lime, it's a citrus fruit. So when you take citrus fruits, it's acidic on the outside. And when it hits the body, it becomes alkaline, right? So what I tell you is you need over 70% of what you're consuming to be alkaline. We're not saying everything got to be alkaline, because then that'll subject you to a different disease, because you need some acidity, because some of your enzymes cannot function in an environment that's alkaline. But for the majority of foods that you take, especially if you're eating meat, then you should go as alkaline as much as possible, because that meat is always creating acid in your body. It's a fact. These are just cold facts. If you are eating veggies, if you're a vegan, then idealistically, you could take in a little something acid, but it's really a situation that your body can do by itself. That's why we need to know what those non-essential amino acids do, okay? Because monomers, amino acids are monomers of protein, and I'm gonna keep saying that on purpose so I can hear him slip, and then I'll say, this is why I kept saying monomers, all right? So you need alkalinity because it provides for the right environment for enzymes to do what they're supposed to do as specialized proteins, okay? That's a fact. So you need the right temperature. So let me show you this. You see how my finger looks? This is what I wanted to do. This is an enzyme, okay? You know, the most common thing in biology that they use as an example is Pac-Man. You play Pac-Man, right? Right, Sonetta? You played it before.
I still play it. I got my Pac-Man.
There you go. So this is Pac-Man, right? No doubt. So this is Pac-Man.
Right.
Let's say this is this is lactase. This is an enzyme called lactase, because as an ASE, we know it's lactase. It's made from protein, right? Amino acids. So these special combinations of amino acids forms this protein called the enzyme that's called lactase. Now let's say we have a lactose come in the body, which is a disaccharide, meaning it's 2 sugars.
2 minutes.
Okay, no problem. So when you got an enzyme, the goal right here is called the native seat before it eats the ball, right? So the enzyme gets ready to eat the ball, boom. And let's say it's not the same size. Then it's called induction, so the enzyme can form around the substrate at the native site. This is called the native site, so it can build or destroy, okay? So the enzyme will not be able to destroy. Lactase will not be able to destroy lactose properly, which would really look like this because it's a disaccharide. So the enzyme will look like this, and lactose will look like this. So lactase and lactose will look like this, so it can break it properly. But what happens when the pH isn't over 7 in the human body? The enzyme is going to look like this. And it's supposed to break down something that looks like this, and it won't fit. Induction can't take place. The native seat won't exist because the enzyme is denatured, meaning it's disformed, it's disfigured. And therefore, pH is very important, because if you can't break down the sugar molecules that's coming in the body, it's going to contort or compromise the integrity of the blood sugar levels, blood sugar being glucose, glucose being instructed by insulin to go inside of the cells so they can metabolize to perform their special tasks. And this will offset what you call diabetes as an example of any of a plethora of diseases that will happen when your body isn't more alkaline than it is acidic.
Time.
Can I answer that question?
Same for you, Brother Chief X. The question is, why is the pH of the body so important? Is that the same question? Yeah.
I got it.
Oh, you got it? Go ahead. Okay. Why is the pH of the body so important? And do we really have to drink alkaline water in food, brother, and eat food? Go ahead.
Okay. So let me just tell you what Polight was trying to say in a nutshell. He was teaching, he was just talking about a Dr. Sevich's teaching. That's why he said at the end, it will offset diabetes. He's trying to allude to the fact that by eating alkaline foods, you can cure diseases. This is what he's trying to say. And that's the furthest thing from the truth. Okay? It's the furthest thing from the truth. It does not matter whether you drink alkaline water or eat alkaline foods. It doesn't matter. If I drink a gallon of Coca-Cola right now, my blood pH after I drink a gallon of Coca-Cola will be 7.4. If I drink a gallon of alkaline water, when I finish, my blood pH is still going to be 7.4. Polight, right now, his blood pH is 7.4. My blood pH right now is 7.4. Sonetta's, it's 7.4, no matter what we eat or drink. If it deviates from that, you will go in a coma because blood cells need to be at 7.4 or to operate correctly, or you will die and go into a coma. These are facts. So all that yip yapping and slick talk he was talking, he's trying to give the people impression that if you drink alkaline water and eat alkaline foods, your body will heal. And this is why he's talking about offsetting diabetes. He's a liar. It does nothing at all. As soon as you drink alkaline water and it hits your acidic gut, it becomes acidic. You cannot change your body pH one lick by nothing you do. Your body regulates its own pH in order to survive. The only pH that changes is your urine because it's eliminated. One day it might be alkaline, one day it may be acidic because you're eliminating shit. So Polight needs to be honest about that and discard that false Sevi teaching, and he knows it's wrong. This is a fact. That's about all I got to say about eating or drinking anything alkaline. It says alkaline, let me just tell you. Eating alkaline foods, the word alkaline is a buzzword to scam you out your money. To get you to go buy all this alkaline water and wasting your money when you can drink some spring water, which is best. You know why spring water is best? Because it's less tampered with. Okay? It contains more minerals than all this purified water and everything. So spring water is best.
It's better than essential water, Chief?
Who?
Is it better than essential water?
Yeah, essential water is a scam. Only water is water. You're hydrating yourself because your body needs water to transport your cells and nutrition. You don't affect your body by drinking essential water, alkaline water, none of that. You don't even affect your body drinking spring water. But I'm just saying spring water is best because it has more minerals than other waters. That's all.
Now, you know, Chief X, you know they got water testers where you can test the water.
Right. So, let me.
I seen spring water was like one of the most dirtiest damn waters out of essential waters and all the other waters.
No, here's the thing. When people test water, they have, I forget the name of the device they use. They dip it in the water and count so many something.
Right.
It's counting more minerals. So yeah, it got more stuff in it that's good for your body.
Okay.
I used to be an alkaline water salesman for Kangen Water, the company in Nashik, 12 years ago. I've been talking alkaline and acid teaching that for a long time. I stopped working for them because I realized they're all scammers and frauds trying to sell alkaline water machines for $4,000. Anybody talking alkaline anything is trying to take your money, period.
Okay. So I want to be able to go to the phone lines now, but I just realized that I don't know if I can do that on this machine. I don't know if I could do that on this joint. Because
you don't got a phone speaker?
No, because I got my joint hooked up a certain kind of way. Let me see.
May I respond?
Let me see if I can hear you.
You. Me?
No, I can't even hear you. Maybe I got to get my headphones.
Man, you used to do this back in the day till you got all high tech.
You put this on here. Let me see something.
Yeah, just put your speaker in your phone. Connect your phone into it. That's what you did back in the day.
Now, you know, can we just do a little review real quick, Sinetta?
Oh, man.
So, can you hear me, Si?
I hope it's not to talk because it's my time if anything's going on.
No, we're calling. When you talk,
the time is now for callers to call in.
Okay, but real quick though,
Yeah.
I just want to say this real quick. When we started this, I made sure people were reminded of what the topic was, because I know Polight will wordplay people away from the topic. And the topic was milk, protein, and iron. And is protein and iron better in plants or better in milk and dairy? Excuse me, milk and dairy and meat. That has been proven.
But I both spoke on the topic. Y'all dealt with the topic, bro.
Right. So I just reminded the public to don't be confused with all that fancy shit. The topic, I was on point. And I proved my points indisputably.
All right, here is the topic so everybody can see.
Okay. Now, may I say something, Brother Sinetta?
Yes, go ahead, Polight.
Just to make it clear, I never said that the cure for diseases such as diabetes was drinking alkaline drinks and eating alkaline foods. It is a preemptive strike, though, towards seeing to it you don't have it or you avoid it if you're inclined. Why? Because what he's not understanding is the foods that are acidic have a certain type of composition, which will only further inflammate an already bad situation, meaning make you more acidic than need be. I don't know where he's getting this idea from, where the water doesn't matter if it's alkaline or not. Let me make
sure I heard you. Let me make sure I heard you right. You're saying that
I don't know why this man insists on talking when I'm talking.
No, I'm just clear, making sure I heard you right. You want to communicate. I just want to make sure. When I'm talking, I want to make sure you heard my words. And when you're talking, I want to make sure you heard my words. That's all I'm saying. Relax, bro.
No, I can't.
You just said again, eating acidic foods is bad for your body. That's false.
Okay, listen to me carefully. You can correct that later on. What I said was, and this is why we can just wait our time to speak, then the other one can speak, because I don't do that to you.
We're conversating. We're not on time clock right now. We're just talking.
No, well, I don't. You decided to conversate.
I was asking for clarity. Is that okay for the dude? If I didn't hear something, can I ask for clarity without you getting emotional?
You can get your clarity when I'm done.
Okay, no. I wanted to make sure I heard what you're saying so you can continue. I wasn't trying to interrupt you.
You're interrupting me now, good brother. I just want to say what I'm saying.
Yeah, stop with the acidity is not doing anything different than alkaline is.
Okay, you can say this on your part, on your time, my brother.
I already did.
Okay, great. So now that you got it out your system, let me say what I'm saying, my brother. Again, I'm going to make it extremely clear. I said earlier, like some foods you eat are actually acidic outside your body. They turn alkaline when they come to body, citrus fruits. I said that your whole situation doesn't have to be made up of alkalinity. That wouldn't be good because some of the enzymes that have to operate need to operate in acidic environments, such as in the stomach where that hydrochloric acid is. I think I was very clear on those parts. So to conclude that I'm saying, oh, well, acidic foods are bad. No, what I'm saying is the type of acidic foods that you're directing us towards, particularly meat, are very compromising because we know based on the composition of the food that we're eating, based on its acidity, certain things cannot exist in it at the same time. This is a fact. So anyway, what I'm telling you is that I never said alkaline drinks, and food is the cure to disease. I'm just making that clear. I sat here and I listened to you misquote me, and I'm taking the time out to make the correction. So that's not going to happen if I'm being cut off while I'm correcting you. Then you over here looking to correct me. If you corrected me, it's only because I have to correct you. That's why it don't even make sense to cut me off.
We got the phone line.
I'm only speaking because I have to make it clear that we need to make the effort to eat alkaline-rich foods and drinks. Why? Because if we don't, our enzymes will be denatured, and then there will be no native site for the substrate to go to. Then induction can't take place. It cannot take place, which means now the only end result is sickness. That's it. And as an example, Black people have a smaller amount of lactase, would not be able to break down the disaccharide lactose if the lactase is denatured, because your source of lactose is coming from one that's accompanied by a food product that has too much sulfur containing amino acids that turns the blood acidic in an environment that needs to be alkaline for the enzyme to have the native state to be able to break down the substrate. You're cutting off while I'm talking again.
No, to be clear, you just said it turns the blood acidic, meaning what you eat controls your blood pH. That's a lie.
Oh, this brother needs discipline, man. Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying. Did you not say that?
Everybody, time out. We going to the phone lines. Here we go.
Dang, bro.
Family,
nothing you eat turns your blood acidic.
Yo, no matter how much you yell, it doesn't mean you're right, bro.
Nothing you eat turns your blood acidic. Your blood is what it is.
We got
winning because you're yelling and over talking people. Sometimes just let people say what they got to say, bro.
All right. Peace and Black Power, family. What's your name? Where you calling from? Peace, bro.
I'm calling from Blue, right in Harlem.
All right. What's happening, man? What's on your mind?
Talk. It's beautiful. First time being online with you guys. All right. So one thing I want to point out is the fact that the whole milk is ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. A cow gives the child certain type of nutrition, and it's ridiculous. How the hell are you gonna get like human cow hormones? That doesn't make any sense.
Your phone is going in and out, brother. Your phone is going in and out.
That makes no sense.
All right.
Senator?
Huh?
People have to be careful. I never said give milk to babies and milk is best for babies. Breast milk is best. Breast milk is best. I only said milk is nutritional for humans.
All right, hold on. Put your phone, turn it down in the background, brother. Please turn it down in the background. Peace and Black Power, family. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Yo, what's the deal, son?
What's going on, brother Jude? What's happening? Turn it down in the back.
What's up, son? You can hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. We all hear you, brother. Talk to us.
Brother, a question, man. Do we hunt?
Say that again, brother.
Can the brother Chief X hear me?
Yeah, he can hear you.
Yo, peace, King.
Peace.
I want to know, do you hunt?
Do you know what the video topic was, first of all?
Yes, I do.
Okay, it was about protein and iron. Do you have a question about protein and iron that the debate was about?
Hey, turn it down in the background, Drew. Turn it down in the back. All right, come on, let's go. Answer the question. Let's get it, Drew.
You're not going to answer the question, bro?
You're asking me, do I hunt? No, I'm not a hunter, no.
You hunt because you're bigging up the meat as if the meat industry has our best interest. So I'm assuming that you are producing, you either farming or you hunting. You get your meat from, you ain't dependent on nobody.
That's not the topic, bro. The topic was meat, iron, and protein versus plant iron and protein. You have a question about that?
So again, the question is, your source of protein, are you getting it from the supermarket? Do you have a farm or do you hunt?
Bro, one more time in case you didn't hear me. I do not hunt. I'm not a hunter.
Okay, so my question is, where are you getting your protein from? The supermarket? A farm?
I get my protein from meat, dairy, and plants. I've been saying this all day. You get protein, hold on. You get protein, hold on. You get protein from meat, dairy, and plant sources. It just so happens.
It don't look like you're sitting in a barn.
Now, listen to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying. I've started off, I said, you get protein from meat, dairy, and plant sources. All of it has protein. The difference is the protein in iron and meat and dairy is complete protein and easily absorbed better. That's a fact. That's what the debate is about. Do you have any questions about that?
Okay, we could do it like that.
That's what everybody wants to avoid. You want to avoid the topic to save face.
My question is then, because it's a difference in the animal kingdom, it's a difference between herbivores and carnivores. So I want to deal with the length of the intestinal lining, you know, like the small, large intestine all the way to the colon, and the herbivore compared to something like a mountain lion or a tiger.
Okay, I think you're trying to say that we're not designed to eat meat. Can you hear me?
So why is that? Yeah, I'm listening.
Okay, I think you're trying to say we're not designed to eat meat, correct?
I think I answered the question.
I'm looking for clarity. Listen to what I'm saying.
Why in a full-grown adult, as opposed to something like a full-grown mountain lion, is such a major difference in the length of the intestines? If it was designed for us to eat meat,
you know what? I'm gonna tell you this. I'm not an animal doctor where I know all about his organs and what does what and what does this.
Yeah, we're in the animal kingdom.
Hold on. This is what I'm saying. We're all way off topic. You're way off topic.
Another question.
He ain't answered none of them.
I don't know. I'm not here to talk about the intestines of animals, bro. Really, seriously.
All right. We go to the next question.
And you ask silly questions because you know the topic.
Take that head off.
All right, come on, dude. Let's get to the next. You got another question?
Hey, it was a good question.
Yeah, but I'm just hold on, caller. Let me be clear. I'm saying I'm not no veterinarian.
Bro, for real, man.
Hold on, let me just say something. Listen. I'm not a veterinarian. If you ask me about the intestines of a goddamn animal compared to this is not the topic of discussion. That's not my lane. Don't ask me that question. Ask me a question related to the topic.
They want to answer that. So I'm going to let somebody else call because I see you want to drag this out.
All right.
No, I'm giving you an answer. I don't know that answer. You ask me about intestines of an animal compared to, that's not the topic.
All right. We're moving forward, y'all. We got to move forward.
Yeah, let's go. He fell weak.
All right. Let me ask you, Chief X. I want to just say, when you look at the animal kingdom, you see that as the animal grow to adulthood, you don't see lions, rabbits, cows, even cows. You don't see these animals as they become adult still drinking milk. Why do you think we still have to drink milk into adulthood, Chief X? That's what I asked you, brother.
Okay, to be clear, we don't have to drink milk. We can do without milk.
Remember when I asked the question, should we still drink milk into adulthood? And you said yes. You said that when I asked.
Yeah. I'm saying that milk is nutritious. So when you get nutrition as a kid or a child. I'm not saying you have to have milk. There's other forms of nutrition. Okay, I'm just stating that milk is very nutritious, and and milk is more nutritious than any drink you can find on the planet.
Wow, Chief, man. Oh my God, I hear what you're saying.
I'm saying that because of the nutritional value.
I'm gonna move forward. But when you say milk is more healthier, right? I'm quite sure. Are you thinking about the pus that's in the milk? Are you thinking about the blood that's in the milk? Do you think that stuff out there?
Yeah, those are myths, Senator.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are myths.
All right, peace and black power, family.
Milk is not pus.
Peace and black power.
Hey, peace, Senator. Hey, this voice of reason, Senator. How you doing?
I'm good, brother. What's happening? Talk to me. We got Polight here too now.
Hey, what's up, Polight? What's up, Chief?
Peace to the
I got
family.
a question for Chief there.
Okay.
Ask him, do we know where the gorilla gets his protein from?
No, you ask him. Go ahead.
Hey, Chief, where does the gorilla get his protein from?
I'm going to repeat what I said again. Listen, Polight, are you okay? Okay. Plant has protein, just incomplete protein. The gorilla also gets his protein from insects and bugs that they eat. So gorillas get protein from insects, bugs, and plants. Their body processes it differently.
That's a
do you know where the bugs get that protein from?
Bro, I'm answering your question. I'm just saying. You asked me a question. I'm saying gorillas get their protein from plants. Which have, hold on. Let me just be clear.
What do the animals that you say they get their protein, the meat eaters, where do the animals that they eat get their protein from?
Plants.
Plants have protein. Hello?
Okay, so you riding hard for meat, but everything else seems to be going right back to the plant.
No, your listening comprehension is just bad. Let me repeat again. Hold on, listen. Bro, listen.
Caller, hold on. Let him finish. You gotta let Chief X explain it.
Let me clarify. I keep saying over and over, the gorilla or whatever you're talking about. Plants have protein. So animals and humans get protein from plants. And we can get it from dairy and milk. What is so complicated about that?
All right, go ahead, brother.
Chief, can you explain the process of indigestion and where it comes from and why?
Chief,
and what does it take?
Who was he talking to? I didn't hear him say Chief X.
Bring the body back into balance to get rid of the indigestion pain.
Okay, what's your question, bro?
What is indigestion? Where does it come from? And what do you do to get it back into balance?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna tell you this, bro. So I'm a realist, and I keep things real. I will never speak on anything that I'm not well read on. Okay, I would never want to miseducate the public. That question may not be for me. I'm not an MD. I'm not a PhD in biology. This topic, again, was about what's the better source of protein and iron. Plant protein. Hold on. Let me just finish. It's not gonna be long. This debate was about, is plant protein and iron better than meat protein and iron? You guys are avoiding that for a reason. Why don't you guys just say, you know what, X, you proved your point. Meat protein and iron is better than plant protein and iron. I proved that. It's okay to say that, y'all. It's okay.
Okay, I got one question for you about protein. Another question. I'll go to the protein.
Yes.
And it has something to do with meat eating. How many teeth do you have that are geared toward protein and meat eating in your mouth? Do you know? I'm done after that question. Like that's I know.
Bro, again, let me tell you something. I'm not no MD can tell you about the whole entire human anatomy. I keep telling you, I'm not gonna sit here and speak on something I'm not sure on to miseducate the public. I'm a righteous brother. I don't just make shit up off the head like Polight.
All right, hold on. Now, before I bring you on, caller, I want you to know we got Polight here too. Chief X is not on the hot seat. And let's ask some questions dealing with the topic, y'all. Peace and Black Power.
I got one for Polight.
Peace and Black Power, family. What's your name, my brother? My man, what's your name and where you calling from?
It's Travis from Houston.
All right, Travis, let's get it in. What's up? Talk to me.
My question for Polight is, do vegetables have carcinogens too?
Yeah, some veggies have carcinogens, but not when it comes to iron and not when it comes to protein. Go ahead.
Say it again, Polight.
Not when it comes to iron. The iron is never carcinogen. I said yes, they do. Yes, they do, but not when it comes to iron and not when it comes to the protein. Go ahead. And now all vegetables are good for you. Go ahead.
That's it.
I also wanted to know about the DNA, the milk destroying DNA. Can we get a source on that? And is it like something specific with the milk that happens to the milk for that to happen, or is all milk?
Animal milk has animal protein, which causes parts of the DNA to be disconfigured. And what happens is now the DNA has to create a form of recombinant DNA to repair itself after taking in excess amounts of sulfur-containing amino acids. Also understand that it takes your amino transmitters and makes you more vulnerable and susceptible to addiction later on, because the casomorphine, which is also carcinogenic, everything he's telling us to eat is high in carcinogens. The milk also, not just the heme iron that's in meat, but also in the milk. There's caseoproteins and casomorphine that makes you addicted to the actual drug. Morphine, as in the drug, is inside of that animal's milk. And so not only do you have a situation where your pH is compromised and it's destroying parts of your DNA, destroying the enzymes that the genes that come from your DNA coded to fulfill purposes such as reconstructing and constructing parts of your body. We also leave ourselves vulnerable and susceptible to addiction as we get older, because as you keep taking these amounts of casomorphine throughout the years, you wind up getting a little craving for something nice. So I'll close out there. And then as far as indigestion is concerned, with the which is basically upper abdominal pain and it causes nausea, you can get some ginger. You could drink some ginger and that'll help you out. Ginger shots will help you out with it. But I mean, I'm just perusing. I'm scrolling.
He asked you, can the people get a source for that?
Can the people get a what?
A source.
A source? Oh, just look up casomorphine.gov. Just put casomorphine.
And I'm gonna tell you, everything he just said is dead wrong. It sounds good.
Yo, brother, I didn't talk during the time you didn't have the answer. You did not have the answer to your own questions, but you want to come here now after researching, because I told you when it's time to ask questions and we can't use our hands, we're going to see who knows what. So this man just started.
You were totally wrong about using iron, and you lied about it to the people.
Yo, bro, it's my time to talk.
Come on, Chief, man, you gotta stop this, Chief. Chief, we've done with the debate. Now we ask.
Right, but I'm adding on like he's adding on. Is that okay?
Yeah, but I'm talking.
No, but you gotta
finish your spill.
We moving on to the next question now.
Oh, go ahead, man. This shit is crazy, man. He don't want to answer his questions, but he want to Google search when I'm doing my questions.
Be quiet, Polight. Let's let him moderate.
Yeah, watch your mouth, bro. It's like, stop.
All right, peace and Black Power, family. What's your name and what's your call?
Yeah, man. And I got a question for Chief.
All right, you got a question for Chief? Let's get it in, man.
All right, so Chief X, can you present to the people any scenario in which meat was used to cure disease? And are you aware of plants being used to as opposed to meat.
All right, you understand the question, Chief? Chief, you understand the question? Unmute yourself.
No, I could not understand the question. People have to get off speakerphone and speak into their phone. I couldn't understand nothing he said.
Get off the speakerphone.
Okay.
Get off the speakerphone.
Okay, I'll click on speaker. All right, can y'all hear me better now?
No.
I'm on.
I still hear a lot of noise on your joint, man.
Oh, yeah, okay, let me pause the video. All right, how about now? I'm good?
Yes, you're good now.
All right, so can he present to the people a scenario in which meat was used to cure a disease, and is he aware of the usage of plants being used to cure disease as opposed to meat?
You understand that, Chief?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Okay. You cannot cure uncurable diseases. Period. Certain diseases there are no cure for. Period. You can't cure leukemia with meat or plants. You can't cure cancer with fruit, vegetables, meat, or plants. You can't cure AIDS with meat, fruit, vegetables, or plants. You just can't. There's just certain things there are no cure for, and we have not discovered a cure for. Never let anybody tell you if you eat fruits and vegetables and some plants, your leukemia is going to go away. There is no scenarios where I know of a meat or a plant curing anybody in the history of mankind.
All right, you done, Chief?
Yes, sir.
You sure? You sure, brother?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to sit here and, huh?
All right, Brother Polight, can you unmute yourself and add on to that?
Is the caller still on the phone?
No, the call is gone.
All I want to say, since that was this brother's question, the brother didn't ask you a damn thing about diseases that couldn't be cured. The brother asked you, have you ever heard of plants being used to cure a disease? Have you ever heard of meat being used to cure a disease? He asked you nothing about uncurable diseases. Obviously,
no, I haven't.
I'm talking, bro, please. So obviously, he was asking about diseases that have been cured. That was the premise. It's implied. He said, have you heard of meat being used? Like, did they blend that joint? Did they put it in the vaccine? Has meat been used to cure diseases, or have plants been used to cure diseases?
No, my answer was.
God damn, bro.
Chief, you got to be disciplined, brother. He don't do that to you, Chief. This is what I'm saying. Come on, Chief. Go ahead, Polight.
It's just weird because when a man has the time to answer a question, he doesn't do it on his time. So all I'm saying is I don't think it's fair to the caller that the question he asked turned into a rant as this man goes into a tangent about leukemia and all these other diseases. And that's convenient for people who ain't sharp. But I can clearly see what he's doing to avoid or defer our attention away from answering questions. So all I'm doing is positing the question again. We all know, and I know it's a rhetorical question because we all know plants have been used to cure diseases. We all know don't nobody throw a chicken in the damn blender and come up with a cure for anything. We know this. So I know it was rhetorical. The answer would be yes, but that was his question. But the problem was, after he's done with his rant, some of us might miss the fact he done had an answer to a question that wasn't even asked. That's it.
Okay. All right. Now, Senator, let me say something real quick. Senator.
No. See,
I have to say this, please. The man asked me a question. My answer was no. I have not heard of a plant or meat that cures diseases. And then I elaborated. I guess Polight's the only one that can elaborate for 20 minutes after he answers the question. I didn't say nothing wrong. My answer was no. Polight heard me. But now he played a mind game and got you caught up, Senator. My answer was no.
All right. Peace and Black Power family. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Can I just ask Polight a question real quick?
Go ahead, brother.
Peace, brother Polight. Can you drop some knowledge on food gene consistency, please?
Oh, great. Food gene consistency. What a great question, brother. Food gene consistency will also bring us back to the fact that we have a different genetic disposition. Therefore, we have a different what? Dietary disposition. Okay? So, when we talk about gene food consistency, as an example that Dr. Sebi would give us, he would say the polar bear. When they bring him into a zoo, they will simulate his environment. If he's with his family, they bring in his family. If the polar bear is in cold weather, they're going to simulate the same climatic conditions and the same corresponding food thereof. Later on, we find out that Mother Nature is taking samples of our DNA all the time. This is called what? Horizontal gene transfer. In biology, sex is predicated upon exchanging of genes. Human beings have sex vertically, and then bacteria, microbes have sex horizontally. When we talk about gene food consistency, we know that the plants and the vegetables that grow in your environment have a correspondence to the subscriptions that you need to make per the food you eat. And when they took the African out of his environment and brought him over here to America, many things have changed. I give you an example. Sickle cell anemia is not merely a disease. We should qualify it as an adaptive disorder, because what happened was we were subject to malaria, having been subject to colder conditions. And so when the white man was dying, when the Spaniards were dying, when all these people were dying, we were just simply getting sick, and then we were revived. And they started thinking that maybe we're zombies. But what they found out was that our cells became sickle because it would deprive the parasites of the amount of oxygen it needed while sustaining enough oxygen to keep us alive. So yes, we would become sick in time, but what it did by depriving those parasites of the necessary oxygen it needed, parasite being malaria, we was able to stay alive. So sickle cell anemia was our body's form of a cure and an adaptive disorder, because we were displaced or dislodged, having been kidnapped out of the land we was indigenous to. Along with that came several other implications. Our type of apple, our type of banana, our type of plants. Nature is constantly collecting data. And then this data is transferred by way of viruses that is included in the genome of the human being. Okay? If you want more research on it, you can look up Human Genome Project that started in 1988. And they said they would finish the project for mapping every genetic sequence that makes us by 2005 with a $3 billion contract. But they wound up saving money, and it only costed them $2.7 billion. And they finished 2 years early at 2003. And what they were able to find was that 3% roughly of our life we only use per the DNA. The other 97% has yet to be decoded, but is consistent with nothing but viruses. And viruses that sustain genetic data and material that needs to be transferred for the survival of our race or evolution thereof. And based on what environment you're in, let's say you have a giraffe, and it's necessary for the giraffe to have to get the fruit out the tree, because for whatever reason, the tree is growing a lot more higher than the giraffe used to have to reach for it. Then it'll be stamped in the impression of the giraffe for the neck to grow longer over time so it can reach it. This is called epigenetics. And this means information is dumped from one generation to the next so that we can further advance ourselves in the form of evolution. What I'm saying to you in closing, if none of this makes sense, we did not have pork fried rice and 2 chicken wings in Africa. Okay? We did not have Tony's Pizza in Africa. And the reason why the zoo maintains the climatic conditions, which when we say gene food consistency, we're also talking about the type of air, equatorial beings that we are. We're talking about the sun, because suns produce vitamins, vital sustenance, amen, sun, sustenance from the sun. And we're also talking about the literal herbs and the fruits and the vegetables that correspond, because the nature has taken our urine, has taken our saliva and other forms of DNA to account for what we need, what we're susceptible to, so we can get it from our immediate environment. When they take you out your environment and you are subject to new food, that food is non-corresponding to your genome. So now you have to make extra effort to get the food that corresponds to your DNA, to which land you are indigenous to. Rice and wings is not the solution.
All right. Now, Brother Chief X, I want to say thank you, brother. Thank you, Brother Polight, for this powerful and important discussion the two brothers have. I know it gets heated sometime.
It's all right.
Chief X, we are here at the closing part right now, and you have an unlimited amount of time to close out. Unlimited. So this is the final round where you can go for a half hour non-stop if you got.
Man, don't do that. I got somewhere to go.
Nah, Polight. He ain't gonna do that. I'm just giving him an example.
Hey, I could go and then I could leave if he gonna talk that long.
Nah, he ain't gonna talk. No, Polight. Right. He ain't long-winded like that. But I'm gonna let the brother go ahead. This is unlimited. Close out. Please detail everything. Make sure you get it all out. So when Polight go, please, brother, don't cut him off, brother. Don't cut him off, because you're gonna see he's not gonna cut you off. All right, let's end this on a good note so we can come back and do a part 2 where we don't insult each other, where we can do a part 2. And Chief X, you can come up with your title this time. You got the floor, Chief X. Take us home, brother. Take us home.
First of all, brother, let me just be clear. It's a few times when Polight was talking, I was asking for clarity. That's it. So I wouldn't miss the point after he goes for 10 minutes. But when I asked him for clarity, he got bothered, okay? My intent wasn't to disrupt at all anybody. I've been sitting here quiet until Polight insulted me. That's the only time I snapped. Okay? So back to the debate topic. The debate topic is protein and iron. And what's better, plant protein or meat protein? Plant iron or meat iron in milk? That's it. That's what I'm ready for, and that's what I debated. Anything else is hyperbole and extra. On that topic, I, without a doubt, prove that meat protein is much better because it contains all of the amino acids. Plant protein does not contain all the amino acids. This is basic comprehension. If someone doesn't understand that, they're not listening or biased. I made the example. Sinetta, if I was to give you 100, if I borrowed $100 from you, you want me to pay you back all 100. You want me to give you your complete loan back. You don't want me to give you an incomplete loan. So complete proteins come from meat. Meat is a better source of protein than plants. This is a fact. That's what the debate is about. Meat iron from meat contains Heme and non-Heme iron. Iron from plant is only non-Heme. It's incomplete iron. Because meat iron has both Heme and non-Heme.
So real quick, and I'm gonna come back to you, Chief. Brother Polight, are you saying that we should not eat no meat at all during our whole entire life? Let's say, because I'm gonna tell you, I have a grandmother, Polight, who is 96 years old, and her ass been eating meat. She been eating meat, pork, and all that shit, Polight. And you got some of these young people dying from a lot of shit. So I'm just saying, are you saying, Brother Polight, that we should never eat meat at all, just a plant-based diet, brother?
I would say if we contend to be American Africans of the diaspora, if we contend to want to achieve greater heights, to spirituality or be able to facilitate the same. If we want better memory, okay?
Oh, okay.
If we want preventive care for our body to make us less vulnerable and less susceptible to the ailments that plagues humanity, then I would simply suggest that we don't eat meat for as much of our life as possible, because the conversation isn't about quantity, it's about quality. The hospitals will prolong your death before they prolong your life by giving you treatments, not cures. So what I'm saying is the best cure is prevention. And so I cannot speak to an anonymous person who lives very long who eats meat, because I don't know their pre-genetic dispositions nor the circumstances that surround their life. But what I do know is the general knowledge of what damages us and how we can provide for the reciprocal of that particular condition. And that would tell us to go plant-based, because I'm interested in quality. The type of things I have to do in this lifetime, it suffices for me to be plant-based. And because who I say I am per my genetic test, it suggests to me, based on my DNA, I can get most optimal results from a plant-based diet with less of the plagues and hindrances that I make myself vulnerable to when I consume meat. Yet this is me speaking on a personal account, and I cannot speak for some of those of us that are mixed, that have, to the extent that they have turned off certain genetic codes and turned on others through practice of eating the wrong foods. And that's why I said study epigenetics, because you can find out, because we've been raped for so many years, that you can actually turn on genes that are more inclined and active to the genome of races that you may contend to not be a part of. But your dietary regimen and the things you listen to and the environment you subject to can turn on genes that are adverse to the very genome you think you are, that you contend you are part of. This is epigenetics.
All right. Powerful answer.
You asked me to close out.
Yeah.
He goes on a rant. I know you asked him a question,
Right.
but I didn't get bothered with him going on a long rant. Now, if he was closing out, and I stopped and gave a long spiel, he would get bothered. But let me finish. I got you concerted. Okay. So I even forgot what I was talking about.
Good. You told me shit.
Take your time. It's unlimited, brother. Go ahead.
So back to the point. Okay. Dr. John Henry Clark used to always teach and say, all major civilizations started along a major river. The Niger River, the Nile River, the Amazon River in the Americas. And along them rivers, civilizations began to be built. Along them rivers, in them lakes, are fish that our ancient ancestors always ate. We always fished, and we loved fish. It's been a staple of our diet since the beginning of humanity. Let's be real and honest. There's never been a vegan or vegetarian culture in the history of mankind. Okay? Now, what's better for us is what's complete. What's better is that you get $100 instead of $50. What's better is that you have a complete iron, not an incomplete iron. Okay? So even the Gullah Geechee, who are descendants from West Africa, what do you see them doing? Fishing and cooking fish. Because we love fish in Africa and everywhere else around the world. Everywhere there was a lake or river, we were fishing. The goddess Hathor, the cow goddess, in ancient Egypt, where we see pictures of the ancient Egyptians on their knees suckling from the cow goddess Hathor. And it's symbolic Not that they were actually suckling raw milk. It was symbolic of the goddess Hathor giving sustenance to the nation and to the people. That milk. Milk has always been symbolic of sustenance and nutrition way back to ancient Egypt time. I didn't lie. Goddess Hathor is a cow goddess. And if you look up the attribute, what she for, it's for sustenance for the nation. Milk. Pictures all in Egypt where they're fishing. Got duck, chickens, cooking. We see that. Don't let Polight sit here and snow you and act like the ancient Egyptians in all other ancient cultures was not eating meat. Sonetta, like you, my grandmama is 90 years old. I've done videos with her. I've done videos with my grandmama cracking a can of Spam open. My grandmama eats Spam, pork, meat, and anything she wants at 90 years old and has not one health problem. Health gurus dying in 70s and 80s, and my grandmama's still walking strong. At 90 years old, eating meat, getting her nutrition. Of course, she cooks a lot. She don't buy a lot of that processed shit. But don't let no nigga tell you that meat is bad for you. Everything in moderation. What people mean is don't over-consume red meat. Eating red meat in moderation is good. Most all bodybuilders, weightlifters, and all athletes are not vegan. All their nutritionists who are PhDs tell them, get some meat because you're going to get some complete protein in your body. Get some salmon up in you. Get you some complete iron, and that comes from meat and dairy products. LeBron James, all these athletes, Carl Lewis, Houston McTeer, all the fastest people, they are meat eaters. Running circles around vegans. Now you got some vegan athletes. I know, I'm not saying veganism is bad. I don't want people to get confused. A vegan and vegetarian diet is good. Any diet that's nutritious and that has nutritious food is good. You know what I mean? It don't matter if it's vegan or meat. I'm here to dispel the misinformation that vegans kick. And the reason why we're here today, because I watched the video of Polight on YouTube saying the exact opposite thing. He was saying plant proteins are complete, trying to lie to the people and telling people meat proteins are incomplete. That was a bold-faced lie that Polight actually needs to apologize for, because I proved him wrong on that. He also needs to apologize because he was saying the exact opposite thing about iron. He said plant iron is best and meat iron is the worst. But then I proved to y'all that meat iron has heme and non-heme iron. You get the both of best worlds. With plants, you get the best of only one world. It's incomplete. So sometimes I even suggest a vegan diet to people. They like for conditions. Like say somebody has high blood pressure or cholesterol problems. I would actually recommend, hey, why don't you go vegan for a year and help that out? Then get back on meats. But then again, people need B12. You can only get that from meat and dairy. You can only get B12 from purple laver plant. I'm pretty much done.
All right. Now I want the jurors to listen up as we get these closing rounds in. And I want y'all to vote this right before we leave here. 3-0, 2-1, 2. I mean, you know how this goes. A draw. I want y'all to, to judge this right. Let the jurors say amen. Brother Polight, it's on you, my brother. Take us out of here.
It's very interesting.
Hey, before you go, Chief X, he didn't interrupt until I asked the question. That's the only time. Let's go, Chief X, so we can end this off. Peace and black power. Go ahead, Polight.
It's very interesting that we should find that he will mention athletes that's running a whole bunch of circles that eat meat, then have to catch himself and say, yeah, but there are some vegan athletes, which would dismiss his point. Why didn't he even say that in the first place then? All we're saying is meat eating is more popular. And it's not because of education. We know that by far because we're not taught this stuff in school. Kyrie Irving, a champion, is a vegan. Venus Williams, a champion, is a vegan. Champions play more than the average person who loses because you have to make it to the championship. We'll move forward. So that's just weird. Ancient Egyptians ate meat. My mama ate pork. My grandma ate pork. This is some of the most ignorant stuff I've ever heard. Dr. Sebi said the only person that can get away with poisoning us would be our mother. He said your mother can get away with poisoning you. She's the only one that can do it after you know it because she's your mother. So now what we're saying is no matter how many years we progress as humanity, we must only make subscriptions to that which our predecessors has done. Even if we find error, that is a religion. Meat eating has become a religion. When people start telling you the reason we need to eat it is because they've seen ancestors in pictures and glyphs fish. Ancestors on pictures and glyphs eat meat. When you hear someone saying something like that, you can tell meat has become a religion. Because there have been some ancestors that sold our ass into slavery. Should we continue that culture? There have been some ancestors that drank blood. Should we continue that culture because they drank blood? Or should we take what we can that it suffice for our advancement and leave the rest alone? So no, I don't have to make subscriptions to things that the ancestors did if I know it to be an error thousands of years later. If he wants to tell you about the ancestors that were eating meat and eating fish back then, he must also tell us what their mortality rate was. And did human beings live longer on average during that time? Not speculatively either, but operatively. See, there goes the half-truths again. There goes the half-truths. So let me say this clearly to y'all. I don't give a damn if my grandmother ate swine, and she did too, and she fed me it too. I don't have to be obligated to keep eating it because she ate it. No more than I have to be obligated to eat meat because some people some thousands of years ago with some powerful knowledge also ate meat. That is a horrible example and excuse for us to eat meat right alongside the meat eaters play sports. But by the way, yeah, there are some vegans in sports. That was a waste of time. There was no need to even make that point then. So we move forward. And again, people, how many times have you seasoned a plant with plants? How many times have you seasoned meat with plants? Because that cilantro, that black pepper, your hot sauce, all of that is made from plants. And you're not going to eat no meat. None of you out there, not even the oil you cook your meat in, which comes from plants. Hopefully it's olive oil or something like that. And hopefully you're not frying it because the olive oil will denature. But maybe it's grapeseed oil or something else. But anyway, sunflower oil, maybe it's something else. But you're not even going to cook your food in a non-plant-based product. You're not going to season your food without a non-plant-based product. But guess what? I don't need that for my vegetables and for my fruits. I can eat them as is. How about that one? Okay, so we'll do this in our summary. He's saying I'm a liar damn near every slide, every time I talk. And I never say, hey, you disrespected me. This is motion for me to cut you off and talk while you're talking. For some reason, he has the right to be disrespectful to me. While I honor what he has to say, while he's being rude to me, and I quietly and patiently await my response. You know why? Because the meat eating process is a very violent process. And part of the violence is a short attention span. Okay? We can see it in his skin. And we can hear it in his deliberations. It is not just an internal violence that transpires breaking down that food. Your body is under so much stress breaking down that food. The stress is manifesting itself in your vulgarity and your inability to communicate your thoughts while also remaining patient until it's time for you to be spoken to. So I don't get upset. I only laugh because I know if the microbes, the bacteria, and the viruses and the germs can speak, it would sound like you. So I will not digress. We'll go over. He said there was 20 amino acids. I'm telling you, it was 22. Then he goes out to say, hey, haven't I been telling you about 2 more? My brother, you only been saying that after I made the citation. He later on said, pyrrolysine doesn't exist in the body. Like he was making a point. But he also told us that the human body has essential and non-essential amino acids. And by non-essential, that would mean that they don't exist in the body either. So the point he was making was moot. He thought he found something, but that's only because he doesn't know what he's talking about. And we know he don't know what he's talking about because when you ask him, how long is the intestine or how much longer estimated wise, he says, I am not a veterinarian. He says, I don't need to know what's going on with the animals. But last I checked, human beings are in the animal kingdom and we're classified as mammals because we're warm-blooded and our women breastfeed. But hey, what do I know? So let's go to another point. He was lacking the right to express, because of his lack of knowledge, that we also have non-essential amino acids. And remember, this has been the elephant in the room. Unfortunately, I got to close this out. So maybe we leave it for another time. But there's a reason why there's non-essential amino acids, and there's a reason why selenocysteine is so very important, especially for meat eaters, because this is what your body has to use when you take in foods that are too high in sulfur-containing amino acids. And every time I say that, he gets offended and thinks I'm offending all the meat eaters because I'm trying to make sulfur sound synonymous with something negative. No, sir. I'm saying that there are several amino acids, and most of the ones in meat are sulfur-containing, meaning the meat is limited to the amount of amino acids you need. Now, y'all do the math real quick. If your body can produce some proteins from the existence of other proteins, if your body doesn't necessarily need some proteins at a certain point in your life or only due to certain circumstance, then how many proteins do you actually need? And where do you get those from? And when do some of the other proteins meet their maturation? These are good questions. But unfortunately, those 8-minute rounds don't suffice, because generally when you do debates, the concept is that both sides know enough to have the debate where one side won't have to teach simultaneously while debating. But that's not this. So I don't digress, we move forward. I said I will give you another plant that gives you whole protein or complete protein. So I just added it here. I do these slides as we're talking. So before he said, we're not going to go nowhere on the internet. Doesn't matter where you Google. We're not going to find a complete protein outside meat sources. So I then read a complete protein or whole protein is food source protein that contains an adequate portion of each of the 9 essential amino acids necessary in the human diet. Examples of single source complete proteins are red meat, poultry, fish, eggs, milk, cheese, yogurt, soybeans, and quinoa. We found quinoa. Maybe he thought quinoa was a meat. But not only that, now I'm going to give you another one so you know I wasn't bluffing. Another complete protein product from a plant is hemp. So not only did he say we would never find it, and he's not lying, and he'll put $100 on it, he's still sitting here pretending like he wasn't wrong once, he wasn't wrong twice. But we'll go further. And when you play it back, you'll see clearly that I can give you another plant product that is filled with the complete amino acids or non-amino or the essential amino acids. But we go on to iron. And he says we need to get our iron from meat as opposed to plants. But you've never heard of iron fluorine being carcinogenic, have you? We get iron fluorine from dark green leafy plants. But here we read here, you go on Google, you do whatever you got to do, go on Google, fine. So we go on irondisorders.org, and we see that heme iron is an iron, and it can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage. So why we got to eat meat if the damn meat is going to incur the stress of DNA damage. Do you know what your DNA is? That means your children are going to come out damaged, eating the way you eat. That's why I said study epigenetics, because what you do now, the sins of the forefathers fall on their posterity. Iron can cause oxidative stress and DNA damage, and heme iron can catalyze endogenous formation. Endogenous meaning internal. Okay, so heme iron can catalyze internal formations of N-nitroso compounds, which are potent carcinogens, meaning cancer causing. But if you knew there was two different outlets that you can get iron from, and one was carcinogenic and the other one wasn't, why would you pick the one that's carcinogenic that destroys and damages the DNA on top of it being carcinogenic? But he tells you, I proved my point. I told you iron from plants, iron from meat is better than iron from plants. For some reason, after this has been presented to him, he still wants to tell you that his grandma ate pork.
All right, Polight.
Come on. No, you said it's unlimited. I'm just going through a review.
It's not unlimited because I got cut.
Do your thing.
Want me to wrap it up and I wrap it up.
Hey, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. So B12 only from one plant. That's what he said. A purple.
No, I didn't.
Well, we can always play it back. I don't got time for that.
You misquoted me a bunch of times in here, line.
No problem, bro. No problem. This is my closing, bro. Please stop. Please.
All right, go ahead, Polight. Come on, let's get this over.
I'm almost done. I'm just going through the summary, like you said. He should have did this on his time. So B12 only from one plant. It's funny he didn't correct me when I read the slide earlier. No correction, because that's what he said. He said, I'm teaching you vegans about this. You ain't know about it.
When you tell me to wrap it up, I gotta stop. But you tell him he can keep going.
Yo, bro.
Chief, you can just let him finish, man, right quick.
Okay.
Yo, it's crazy. B12. I know it seemed easier
if you want me to clarify what I said about B12, I will.
We don't want no clarification on my time, G.
Yeah, but don't lie on me, bro.
All right.
That's a matter of your opinion. I got nothing to do with that. I don't say
that. You lied 3 times on me now.
When you misquoted me, I did not scream in the middle of what you're doing and say, don't lie on me. I waited my turn and I made the correction.
Yeah, but don't lie on me, bro.
I don't got nothing to do with the lying. You can play the video back.
Chief, let him go so he can end this out, man. Come on, Polight, end this.
It's being done on purpose because the flow of seeing so many inaccurate things that he stated got him in the hot seat. It's clear because I don't behave like this when he gives misinformation. I just laugh and say I can't wait to say something back.
All right,
but after I do this, I don't have to say nothing back because after I do this, we can see everything that he presented during this whole discourse, and it was fallacious.
Let's go, Polight. We're gonna come on.
B12 only from one plant. He said there was that purple plant, and this is where you vegans get it. After that, you ain't gonna find it nowhere else. All you gotta do, people, is play the video back. That's all you gotta do. And then that was motion for me to put these things. And let's also keep this in mind. Him stressing the topic, because he went first. Every time I went, I only responded to what he said. So if I said something off topic, he was off topic because I'm responding to him and saying what I have to say for the sake of the topic. And I had to remind him earlier, you didn't even go into what you say you're going to go into that was scheduled for the 3rd round. And I gave him extra time to do it. In the name of scholarship, go ahead and say what you had to say. I did that for him. But when it came time for me to get extra time, he said, no, I don't want that to happen. And I honored him for it because that's a decision I asked and he shut it down. So I had to respect it as a man. That's being real. B12 only from one plant. I put a question mark there because I took a note and put it in the slide. Then I read to him, vitamin B12 is generally found in all animal foods except honey. So now we also found outside the purple plant that we can get it from honey. I later on went down here, don't have enough time to go over it, that we get B12 from sunlight, and B12 is a what? Alphanumeric.
You got a source for the honey?
B12 is a alphanumeric. Mister, go anywhere on Google to refute what I'm saying. There's no way you can find anything. Mister, now you want sources. The sources is here. Okay, right in front of your face if you've been paying attention. So now let me finish what I'm saying instead of filibustering to throw off the momentum of what I'm saying. I also made it clear you can get this from sunlight. And not only is B12 an alphanumeric, it's an alphanumeric on purpose because it's an organism, a bacteria that exists in the small intestine. It is a trace mineral, but it can also be created from sun exposure because vitamin, vitality, sustain, amen, sun god. We get our sustenance from the sun.
Vitamin B12 comes from food.
Yo, bro, why you have to talk while I'm talking? You're prolonging it. If you want to talk that badly, let me finish so you can get to your talking quicker. Because actually, you ain't supposed to talk no more.
All right, come on. We wrapping it up, y'all. We wrapping it up. It's 1 o'clock on my end.
Yo, you got to mute his mic or something, so I don't got to keep stopping.
Come on, Chief. Let him go.
My mic don't even be muted.
But dang, because you told me to wrap up. It made me get off.
I did tell him wrap it up, and he got
enough time to do it.
And this is 10 minutes later. He's still going. This is not fair and balanced.
He told you had as much as time as you
wanted. No, he didn't. While I was going, he said wrap it up. Tell him something.
Right, I told him to wrap it up. He wrapped it up. I told him.
I got nothing
to do. Wrap it up. You still going on for 15 minutes?
Because we was told we got a limited.
No, bro. And also, you lied about iron free.
Yo, damn, bro, get some
ceramic.
Why you
not human being? Get some. Iron, it's no such thing.
All right, bro. You got 2 minutes, bro. Right, let's go, because I got to do something too.
Yo, every time you go into this little bitchy ass run, man, like this shit is sad.
Iron free is for ceramics, not human beings.
Like, what kind of man is this? Like, how they creating men like this? That's what swine products create, man.
Yeah,
bro.
2 minutes. Let's end it right, man.
Can't end it right because he ain't got no discipline as a man. Damn. It's like I'm debating with a damn sister that's out of control or something. Gotta say something every time I'm saying something. Like, damn. Milk does the body no good. He said that. I'm saying that. Milk, he said milk does the body good. I am, let me talk, damn it. I'm paraphrasing.
Why don't you just ask me what I said?
I heard what you said.
That's what grown folk do. That's what grown folk do.
All right, Chief, I have to let you go so Polight can close out, brother. You already did your part. I'm gonna have to cut you, man, because you can't let the man.
All right, peace out.
All right, peace, Chief. Go ahead, Polight, close out, man.
So we leave it up to this guy. He'd be basically telling us milk does the body good. He did not say that directly. I'm paraphrasing. And we all should know what paraphrase means. Because he did tell us milk was good. And Sinetta also caught him double talking about milk. Because 1 minute he said we need it for our whole life. Another minute he said we didn't. Sinetta actually caught him when you see Sinetta ask him about the milk. But that's another conversation. And I showed you that it had KCO morphine. And I asked the people because of time, for the sake of time while I'm talking, just look up KCO morphine because it's inside the milk. And not only is KCO protein carcinogenic, yet another thing he's directing us to consume gives us cancer, prostate cancer in this particular case, and is also linked to autism, and is also linked to diabetes. I didn't even go through it. I said, just look it up, because I know when they look it up and they see the medical journals, what they have to say about it, case closed. So
I actually looked it up and posted about it. I showed you it helps diabetes.
Man, ain't you supposed to go, bro? Like, what's up, man? So anyway, I did that. So now, I'm almost done now. So now, you know, that's when he said that, oh, this amino acid doesn't, and he also used the word eukaryotic. And I said, eukaryotic, what the hell is that? So I know he's not even used to reading eukaryotic, which means I know he doesn't know the distinction between eukaryotic and prokaryotic, which means you just Googling on the strength. And I said that, and then sure enough, around this time, what happened, when it came time for the milk conversation, and I was talking about insulin-like growth factor 1, we happened to see insulin growth-like factor 1 pop up on the screen. And just because I said, aha, I caught you, because he shared the screen by accident, he went into some chaos and cursing, yelling, and screaming, all because I said that. Why was you so upset about that?
All right.
Yeah, man, I'll stop. Thank you,
man. I thank y'all both, man.
I'll stop.
Here, Polight. Thank you, brother.
Yo, thank you. Thank you, Si. I appreciate you.
No doubt, man. Peace, brother. Thank you, brother.
Crying.
All right.
He be crying. I thought he.
All right, yeah, family. You already know I appreciate both of the brothers. Oh man, I know y'all gonna be in there talking about Sonetta Why you wasn't fair, family? I was fair. Polight was definitely fair. He never spoke on the brother's time, and you got to give it to him. He never spoke on the brother's time, and he waited until it was his turn. So I don't know what y'all talking about. So without any further ado, peace and black power, y'all.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Welcome to Sunday Studios. Don't get no better than your nutritious. Sunday TV 7. We keep it hot 24/7. The light goes 102. Sunday TV 2. Yeah. You are now inside Sunday Studios. The House of Consciousness production. Black news presentation.
Family, on your way out, make sure you thumb up the video, make sure you subscribe, and make sure you click that bell so you know when we live and when we going in like this. Peace and black power. We out of here.